At Relief Windows, we're more than windows. We're windows, doors, hardy plank, and vinyl siding. But our number one product is always customer satisfaction. Visit us online at reliefwindows.com.
This is Sports.
I'm Kevin Witch to the first ever Black Friday game in NFL history. The Dolphins just getting a 70-yard touchdown pass to a Tagovailoa to Tyreek Hill. They have a 10-0 lead over the New York Jets, and it might as well be 100-0 at this point. Total yards in this game, the Dolphins 162, the Jets 33. They just got a 70-yard loss. Then also the 33 yards includes an 11-yard Breece Hall run. Tim Boyle, 5 of 8. That's good. 23 yards. That's not good. 23 yards of offense 33 yards of offense for the Jets on 15 plays. They trailed 10-0, 6:57 to go in the second quarter. Meanwhile, NBA in-season tournament. What a game it's been in Orlando. The Magic are now on 11-0 run. It's Group C action. Boston leads Orlando 62-61. Celtic win. They win the group. Magic win. And we create some chaos, and the Magic might actually be in control of their own destiny to win the group. College football today, the greatest under in the history of college football, the lowest in the history of the game, cashed. Iowa gets a game-winning field goal from 38 yards out. They beat Nebraska 13-10. On the other end of the spectrum, there was absolutely no defense played in Norman. Dylan Gabriel, 400 yards passing, 4 total touchdowns. Oklahoma 69, TCU 45.
Think O'Reilly Auto Parts for all your car care needs. They're close, convenient, and have the parts you need fast, along with excellent customer service from professional parts people you can trust. Stop by your local O'Reilly Auto Parts today or visit O'ReillyAuto.com.
Matt Moscona.
I'm very important.
After further review.
Say it one more time.
After further review with Matt Moscona.
And here we go.
Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge Studios.
That's right.
And off we go. Welcome aboard. Glad you're with us. It's AFR presented by Don Juan Cigar Bar. I'm Matt.
You're a loser,
man! Hey, shut up, kid. Paul O'Neill.
They're chanting Paul O'Neill's name.
And Mr. Toby Tomplay. All right, we're here. Glad you are as well. Get out there, make it a good one. Hope you had an awesome Thanksgiving. Belated happy Thanksgiving to you and yours. Hope it was a great day. You got full belly, great time with friends and family. We did, and glad to be back here on this Black Friday as LSU and Texas A&M will tee it up and kick it off in Tiger Stadium, 11 a.m. Saturday morning. Saints are on the road in Atlanta on Sunday. Both teams coming up their bye. We got a ton to do over the next 3 hours. Let's get to it. Start as we always do.
It's time to pop the top on another edition of AFR with Bud Light. Drink easy.
So it'll be LSU and Texas A&M Saturday morning, 11 a.m. in Tiger Stadium. And yes, everybody hates 11 a.m. kickoffs, but LSU's actually fared pretty well there. I would argue LSU's most complete game this year was the 11 a.m. kickoff in Starkville against Mississippi State. And LSU's best win this year was an 11 a.m. kickoff on the road in Columbia, Missouri, against a Missouri team that is sitting here with just 2 losses to LSU and number 1 Georgia. So the kickoff time has not really affected this LSU team, and that's very encouraging going into this game on Saturday morning. Over the course of this week, though, you've heard this said, that A&M might be the best defense that LSU's faced all year. And I've had several of you ask, well, we've heard that. Are they really? We heard that with Florida State. We heard that with Alabama. Now we're hearing that with Texas A&M. So is there, which is the best defense that LSU will have faced all year in this great offense, and who might have an opportunity to slow them down? Could it be Texas A&M? So I kind of did a little bit of a deep dive into that, and I'm going to try not to bore you with numbers, but I want to run through it, and then I'll kind of give you the overarching conclusion that I came to about this A&M defense relative to the Florida State and Alabama defenses that LSU already played earlier this year. First of all, I did a grid, and I broke down Florida State, Alabama, A&M. Scoring defense, total defense, pass, rush, sacks, TFLs, all that sort of stuff. And again, not to go overboard with metrics, but suffice to say, there isn't a great discernible difference among the three. Scoring defense, Florida State's the best at just under 17 points a game. Bama, 17.3 points per game. A&M, 19.4 points per game. So Florida State's 12th, Bama's 14th, A&M's 25th in the country in scoring defense, but they're all within literally 2 points of each other. Total defense, it's inverted. A&M's 8th in the country in total defense. Bama's 17th. Florida State's 24th. But again, all relatively close. A&M allows just 286 yards a game. Pass defense, they're just a big clump. Florida State's 15th, A&M's 16th, Bama's 23rd, and they're all within 11 yards passing of each other. This is where you start to see how A&M separates itself defensively from the other two. Rush defense. A&M's 15th in the country at 102 yards a game. Bama's 27th. Florida State is 44th. Sacks. A&M second in the country with 40 sacks. That's 3.6 per game. Bama and Florida State 11th in the country with 32 sacks each. 2.9 per game. And TFLs, A&M leads the country in tackles for loss, averaging 8.5 tackles per loss per game. Florida State's 26th, Alabama's 34th. So when you look at it and break down their opponents, their win-loss records, who they played, who they did well against, their grand averages, when you include non-conference games, exclude non-conference games, there is not a great discernible difference. They're all very talented. Bama, Florida State, and Texas A&M all have talented players. All have had great success this year. The biggest difference is A&M's defensive front is clearly the best of the three. What's interesting about A&M, though, is they've lost 4 times. 3 of their 4 losses have been on the road. Their only home loss was the game to Alabama, and that was a close, low-scoring game. But when you look at A&M's 3 road losses, at Tennessee, and they lost that game allowing 20 points. But Tennessee ran it for 232 against A&M that day. Tennessee had their way on the ground. They only threw it for 100 yards, but they had their way on the ground, controlled the game. Miami put up 451 yards and 48 points. Ole Miss 518 and 38 points. A&M has struggled on the road, and the 2 better offenses they faced, Ole Miss and Miami, both dump trucked them. Now, Miami did have a kickoff return for a touchdown in that game. But they've shown you the formula of how to beat Texas A&M. Keep your quarterback upright, you can throw the ball. Ole Miss threw for 387, ran it for 131. Miami threw it for 374, ran it for 77. Run when you need to, really do your damage to the air, because they can't stop you as long as you keep your quarterback upright. So if you want the silver lining for LSU, LSU's offensive line is awesome. Tigers are 5th in the country in rushing yards. And I didn't even realize this, but LSU has allowed the offensive line has allowed the second fewest tackles for a loss in the country. They allow 2.8 tackles per loss per game. That's the second fewest in the country. And they allow under 2 sacks a game, 1.8 sacks per game. So this is really pretty easy. I'm not saying it's easy to execute, but when you look at what the path is for LSU, it's really easy, and it's on the LSU offensive line. If you can keep Jaden Daniels upright and prevent that really active and talented A&M front 7 from continuing to put you behind the sticks, then you're going to do to A&M what you've done to everyone else, which is Jaden Daniels is going to sit there and carve you up, and when he has a crease, he's going to carve you up with his feet. So it's pretty easy, the path there. So when you've heard people say Florida State's the best defense that LSU's faced, or Bama's the best defense LSU's faced, or A&M, you can make a case for any of the 3 because they're all very similar in all of the major categories and how they've played out this year. The biggest difference is A&M's defensive front has been clearly the best of those 3, and that's a big challenge for LSU. And as a matter of fact, on his Monday press conference, Brian Kelly did talk about that Texas A&M defensive front, which has to be a focus.
There's depth on the defensive line. Physically gifted athletes at all levels, inside and out, and they have versatility. Their defensive linemen can play anything from a 0 technique to a 5 technique. As I mentioned, Cooper's all over the field. You got to know where he is, and that's the strength of their Texas A&M defense.
It's a big challenge. It's going to be maybe the biggest challenge for this LSU offensive line so far this year. Just keep Jaden Daniels upright, let him do what he's done all year, and carve his way to New York City 2 weeks from Saturday. All right, it's After Further Review. We're glad you're with us. Our show open every day is brought to you by Bud Light, the official beer of AFR, the official beer of the LSU Tigers, the official beer of the New Orleans Saints. Drink easy in Louisiana this football season and this holiday season with Bud Light. Of course, our friends over at Mockler Beverage, another great giveaway. It's for the Saints-Lions game in the Dome on December the 3rd. It's 2 weeks from Sunday. A week from Sunday. Forgive me. It's 4 field passes, 4 pregame field passes, and 4 tickets to the game in the Bud Light fan zone. So all you got to do is text the word HOODAT to our show text line. Just text HOODAT to 225-396-4400, 396-4400, 396-4400. Text HOODAT to our show text line. We'll pick the winner next Thursday. So enter now. We'll pick the winner on Thursday at random, and we'll send a guest or a listener and 3 guests, so 4 total, on the field pregame, and then, of course, the Bud Light fan zone. Drink easy this football season with Bud Light, the official beer of AFR. Okay, it's After Further Review. Y'all, let me knock out our first break of the show. We'll come back. The Saints injury report, the final injury report for Saints and Falcons is out. We'll delve into that. Let you hear from Dennis Allen, Arthur Smith as we inch closer to Sunday as both teams coming off their bye, trying to get in the win column. The Saints could take a commanding divisional lead. They could really bury Atlanta if the Saints are able to win Sunday there in Atlanta. Mike Triplett will be with us next hour. We're glad you're hanging out with us here. Don't you move. It's AFR.
AFR.
Get Gordon and get it done. Thanksgiving in the rearview mirror. Great opportunity now to focus not only on Christmas, but Gordon's great Christmas promotion that he does every single year with Gordon Gives, the charitable arm of Gordon McKernan Injury Attorneys. Every year, Gordon gives away bikes to the less needy kiddos in our communities all across the state of Louisiana. Gordon's told the story often. His favorite holiday memory, his favorite Christmas morning memory as a kid was getting a shiny red Schwinn bicycle, and so he tries to pay that forward every single Christmas season. This year, giving away 488 bikes to less fortunate kiddos in our community. So if you want to enter, if you know a kiddo would love a bicycle this Christmas, Gordon would love to help. Go to GordonGives.com. It's easy. GordonGives.com. You see the form right there on the homepage where you can enter to win. And this is statewide. The entry periods for Baton Rouge and Hammond are December the 7th. For Alexandria, Lafayette, Lake Charles, Monroe, Shreveport, it ends November the 30th. So you got a few more days. Get to GordonGives.com. Get Gordon and get it done.
Hey, boat owners, check it out. It is the holiday season, which means it's time to buy yourself a gift by taking your boat to the next level with our friends at Front to Back Boat Service. Now is the perfect time to upgrade your boat and get it ready for that warmer weather, whether that's trolling motors, HD sonar, anything and everything. The Sherman family's been at it for 30 years, and Devin's going to take you through 30 more. Find them on Facebook at Front to Back Boat Service or go to fronttobackboatservice.com.
Running Boards Marketing can help you get their attention. Imagine your brand's message on a giant LED billboard truck that can't be skipped and is nearly impossible to ignore. Running Boards Marketing is the leader in effective and affordable advertising on digital mobile billboards, which are 2 times more effective than traditional billboards. With a 97% recall rate, you'll leave a lasting impression with your customers.
Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram has $20,000 off MSRP on new 23 Ram 1500 trucks. $20,000 off plus no payments for 90 days on new 23 Ram 1500 trucks. All with Bayou's 1 million mile warranty. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
Electricity is all around us, and our families depend on it. Every day is sparked by the power of a cold drink or a warm meal, a movie night, and a comforting light at the end of a dark hallway. From sunrise to sunset, playtime to bedtime, our team is ready to take care of your electrical needs. Even in the case of an after-hours emergency, the light in your life shines brighter with Mr. Electric.
Life in Louisiana is a song. A symphony of sound, colors, and movement. Life is here, now. For life's moments, big and small, always there. The right card, the right care.
Would a couple that just came from a couples massage have any use for the massage seats of the Infiniti QX60? Yes, it appears they would. With driver and passenger massage seats, mute all your notifications and feel infinitely you.
Dylan Cruz here to tell you about Six Rings Baseball and Softball Camp. If you live on the North Shore and play ball, go to Six Rings Camps with former LSU assistant coach Dan Canaveri.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Don Juan Cigar Bar.
Coach, how do you feel like the team's responded after the bye week?
Good. I think we had a good week of practice. I think our guys are ready to go.
Dennis Allen met with reporters on Friday as the Saints were back at it. The final injury report for the week is out. Let's run through this really quickly if we could. And it's a pared down injury report for both teams, which is good news. Both teams are pretty healthy, and you'd expect that coming off their bye. We'll start with New Orleans. Marshawn Lattimore, Kendre Miller both ruled out for this game. I don't think that's a great surprise, especially Lattimore, as Dennis Allen said. It's gonna be some time for him. The good news is he didn't go to IR like Michael Thomas did. But Lattimore out, Kendre Miller out as well. Both of them with an ankle injury, suffered in the game against Minnesota before the bye. Ryan Ramczyk, who didn't practice on Wednesday, listed with an injured knee. He was limited on Thursday, then a full participant Friday, so he's good to go. Isaiah Foskey with that quadricep, still listed as questionable. He was limited throughout this week. And Blake Grupe, they put him with an injury designation on Friday with a right groin injury, but he was a full participant. That means both kickers are battling injuries. Grupe with the groin, and we know Younghoe Koo is dealing with a back injury, and Younghoe Koo is fantastic. I mean, I'm not sure that there's more, aside from Justin Tucker, more clutch kicker in the NFL right now that I'd rather have with the game on the line than Younghoe Koo. But he did not practice on Wednesday, was limited on Thursday, then full on Friday. The only player for Atlanta that's out this week is Mac Hollins, the wide receiver, with an ankle injury. He's out, and then Taylor Heineke is listed officially as questionable with the hamstring. That's relevant and important only if something does happen to Desmond Ridder, right? We know Desmond Ridder has been reinstalled as the starter, not just for this game, but as Arthur Smith has said, for the remainder of the season, as they're going to try to give Desmond Ridder some runway here to see what they have with their young quarterback who they drafted a year ago, to see if he might be the guy that's going to be their franchise, or do they need to invest more resources into finding someone who can ultimately be that heir apparent to Matt Ryan. So, but Taylor Heineke, questionable for the game on Sunday in Mercedes-Benz Stadium there in Atlanta against the New Orleans Saints. So it'll be, it's interesting for New Orleans because of what's on the line. We'll get to that in a second, but you'll probably notice the most obvious and the biggest name absent from the injury report is Derek Carr. So Derek Carr, of course, was in the concussion protocol. He started this week still in the concussion protocol, but when we got that first injury report on Wednesday, he was a full participant, which certainly showed that he was trending toward playing. Now he's completely removed from the injury report, meaning he has cleared concussion protocol. Dennis Allen, when he met with reporters on Friday, talked about Carr and how he's approached this week.
Yeah, look, I think he's been extremely focused on, things he's got to improve on. Again, like I said, I think he had a really good week of practice. I think he's focused in on the things that we're trying to do, offensively, from a scheme standpoint. So, yeah, I'm excited about watching our guys go out there and play.
This is such a massive game for both teams. Of course, the Saints, with a full game lead in the division right now, and if you're able to beat Atlanta, not only do you expand your lead, but you also have another division when these two teams do play later in the season. But if you're just breaking it down to a percentage basis, Pro Football Focus puts the Saints' chances of making the playoffs with a win Sunday. I mean, if they go to Atlanta and win on Sunday, the Saints' percent chances of making the playoffs are at 80%, 8-0. If they lose on Sunday, it drops to 44%. It just goes to illustrate, look, this is a bad division. We all know it. And the winner of this division is probably going to hover somewhere around 500, which is why if you get past this week and you only have 6 games to go and the Saints have a 2-game lead on Atlanta, is there room for Atlanta to make up that gap? Yes, but you'd have to have the Saints falter and Atlanta would have to go and win 4 in a row. They'd have to do something otherworldly down the stretch to be able to overcome that deficit and have the Saints falter. So it's a massive game. It's a massive game for both teams. But for the Saints, if they want to take that step toward the playoffs, they could do it this weekend. And Derek Carr is going to have to do something he's never done. You realize Derek Carr has never beaten the Atlanta Falcons in his career? Now, they've only played twice. Of course, he was in Oakland and Las Vegas with the Raiders, so it would only be every 4th year that they would play. So they played in 2016 at home in Oakland, and Carr that day was 34 of 45 for 299 and 3 touchdowns. And the Raiders lost 35-28. If that isn't the Emperor of Empty Yards worthy, then I don't know what might be. Oh, Muse, come on! Muse! Are you high on tryptophan right now? Tryptophan? That's what's in turkey that makes people tired and everything? No? Don't worry about it.
No, wasn't word.
No, don't worry about it.
Wasn't up to date on that.
We'll do it later. And then they played in 2020, and the Saints and Derek Carr and the Raiders lost that game 43-6. That's the only time he's played in Atlanta. Was in the COVID year, and the Raiders lost 43-6. So Carr in his 2 outings against Atlanta has not had a lot of success. They lost 35-28 back in 2016, and then his only trip to Atlanta prior, he was 22 of 34 for 215, no touchdowns, a pick, and they got walloped 43-6. So Derek Carr is going to try to do something he's never done, which is beat the Falcons and win in Atlanta. The Falcons' pass D has been pretty good. They're 8th in the NFL. They're actually 1 yard per game behind New Orleans. Saints allow 199 yards a game. Falcons allow 200 yards per game. So 2 of the better pass defenses in the league. So the Saints offense will have its work cut out for it through the air against Atlanta. Keep an eye on the takeaways as well. Atlanta has struggled to take the ball away, to force turnovers. There are only 3 teams in the NFL that have fewer takeaways than Atlanta: the Rams, the Titans, and the Panthers. So if the Saints protect the football on Sunday, they should have a great chance of winning this game. I know the line is Atlanta 1. It's a virtual pick 'em, which is a little odd to me because I do think the Saints, with a better quarterback, I think better defensively, should be favored to win this game. But when you're an inconsistent team like New Orleans is, this is typically what happens. They're a tough team to peg because you don't trust them to be consistent week to week. It is worth noting also, there's a lot of familiarity with these two teams. Of course, Ryan Nielsen left the Saints. He's now the defensive coordinator in Atlanta and was under Dennis Allen in New Orleans, of course. So Allen was asked about Ryan Nielsen and what he's done well this year.
I don't know necessarily that that's, the case. There's a lot of things that change from, week to week, season to season, game to game, so, obviously we understand that, they've got a lot of guys over there that are familiar with us, and so we've obviously taken that into account, but there's a lot of things that change.
I would imagine that would have to do with a lot of different signals, terminology, calls on the field, all that sort of stuff. Remember, David Onyemata is there as well. Kentravius Street is there. Caden Ellis is Atlanta's leading tackler right now. So you are going to see a lot of familiar faces wearing red and black in Atlanta on Sunday when the Saints head to Atlanta to take on the Falcons. All right, it's after further review. We're glad you're hanging out with us here on this Black Friday edition of AFR. Hope you had a great Thanksgiving. A lot of football today as well. Iowa outlasted Nebraska earlier today. Miami got a win. Oklahoma got a win. Keeping an eye right now, Tulane and UTSA are tied at 7 at the end of the first quarter, and Missouri and Arkansas are playing right now in that now traditional Friday after Thanksgiving spot where Missouri's on the board first with a 7-0 lead with 9 minutes to play in the first quarter. So we'll keep you posted on these games throughout the day, and glad to have you hanging out with us here. If you're just bebopping around town, maybe shopping, trying to take advantage of these Black Friday specials, just hand your wife the credit card and just go to Pluckers and eat wings and drink beer and listen to us. We're here until 6 o'clock. We're brought to you by the Aesthetic Medicine and Anti-Aging Clinics of Louisiana. Bluebonnet in Baton Rouge, Ambassador Caffrey in Lafayette, and online at theantiagingclinics.com. That's theantiagingclinics.com. 2 locations, of course, Baton Rouge, Lafayette. Remember, you've heard we're into the holiday season now, and this is a lot of time when people eat a lot, you drink a lot, you gain weight. If you're interested in semaglutide, you've heard people talk about it, semaglutide, a once-a-week injection to help with weight loss. They have it at the Aesthetic Medicine and Anti-Aging Clinics of Louisiana. They can help. Go for that consultation with Dr. Todd Howell. See if you're a candidate for semaglutide. See if you're a candidate for hormone replacement therapy. You want to reintroduce that vitality into your life, that youthful feeling that you once had. They can help. It's hormone replacement therapy. It's at the Aesthetic Medicine and Anti-Aging Clinics of Louisiana. Baton Rouge, Lafayette, and online at theantiagingclinics.com. That's theantiagingclinics.com. All right, Mike Triplett will be with us next hour. We'll talk a little further about Saints-Falcons. In hour 3, Terrio's not here today. Of course, Thanksgiving holiday, Terrio's out of town with his family, so no Riot Radio hours this week. But we will have our buddy Michael Anderson in studio from Boot Up Customs. These guys done a lot of custom sneakers and not only that, but custom cleats as well. And he worked on a very special project with Jaden Daniels to honor Greg Brooks for Saturday's game against Texas A&M. He'll be here in studio with us in hour number 3, so we're looking forward to that. All right, y'all hang out. Stick around. We'll knock out a quick break, come back. We'll go around the SEC when we return. It's AFR.
AFR.
Partnered by Glow Resources, GLO, glowresources.com. Glow Resources, complete employer solutions. It's Glow Resources and glowresources.com. If you're a business owner and you're struggling with this hiring market, which has been really so bad since COVID, I mean, it's something we hear sort of endlessly from employers. So hard to find good people. Well, take the guesswork out of it. Let Glow Resources help. They will find the qualified candidates that'll best suit your job. And it doesn't matter if you're right here in Baton Rouge or anywhere. And they have offices in Baton Rouge, New Orleans, and Miami, and Dallas, and Houston, and all over the place. But they'll place qualified employees and workers in jobs all over the world. So no matter if you need a heavy equipment operator here in Baton Rouge or you need a manager in Taiwan, they can help you at Glow Resources. GLO, glowresources.com. Take the guesswork out. They are complete employer solutions. It's Glow Resources. Again, online at glowresources.com.
At Corval Toyota in Opelousas, we're featuring 2023 Toyota Tundras with $2,000 bonus cash. $2,000 bonus cash offer on Toyota Tundras. So come on down to Happy Town. That's Corval Toyota in Opelousas, Happy Town, USA.
The world's leaders in obesity research, obesity medicine, and obesity science are right here.
We're doing something that no one's ever done or trying to answer a question that no one's ever asked before.
Pennington is a real jewel when it comes to research.
We are finding the solutions to the world's worst chronic disease, which is obesity. Louisiana needs Pennington Biomedical.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart way to manage your money and time. Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary, for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected. Supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team. And backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Running Boards Marketing can help you get their attention. Imagine your brand's message on a giant LED billboard truck that can't be skipped and is nearly impossible to ignore. Running Boards Marketing is the leader in effective and affordable advertising on digital mobile billboards, which are 2 times more effective than traditional billboards. With a 97% recall rate, you'll leave a lasting impression with your customers.
Electricity is all around us, and our families depend on it. Every day is sparked by the power of a cold drink or a warm meal, a movie night, and a comforting light at the end of a dark hallway. From sunrise to sunset, playtime to bedtime, our team is ready to take care of your electrical needs. Even in the case of an after-hours emergency, the light in your life shines brighter with Mr. Electric.
The interior of an Infiniti is thoughtfully designed to be all about you. And by you, we mean every version of you. Because there's luxury you can feel, and there's luxury that lets you feel. Infinitely you. Experience luxury like never before with Infiniti.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Don Juan Cigar Bar.
Our UTSA is taking a 10-7 lead over Tulane, opening minute of the second quarter. Missouri and Arkansas tangling there up at Reynolds Razorback Stadium. Mizzou with a 7-0 lead and driving. We'll go around the SEC in just a quick second. Some of the other scores from around college football today, if you haven't kind of been keeping an eye on the day. Oklahoma finishes the regular season of the Big 12 at 7-2. They blast TCU 69-45. Iowa beat Nebraska 13-10. It was a wild finish there where they were tied at 10, and Nebraska Nebraska got an interception, looked like they were going to be driving for a potential game-winning field goal. They throw an interception. Iowa, one big running play, and they get in field goal range and kick the walk-off field goal to win 13-10. Miami had no issues with Boston College today, 45-20. Memphis beat Temple 45-21. Toledo routed Central Michigan. Old Yellow Teeth Falls 32-17. And Ohio beat Akron 25-14. So you got a full slate. The really interesting one tonight, of course, you do have Texas and Texas Tech tonight, and we've kept an eye on that Big 12, the Big 12 race, and why that's so interesting because there's just this log jam in the Big 12. Texas is the only team at 7-1, and so they are leading the Big 12. But after Texas, you had Oklahoma, Oklahoma State, Kansas State, all as 2-loss teams. So if all of them win this weekend, how that tiebreaker may work will be interesting. So like Oklahoma State's going to be fascinating. I mean, Oklahoma clearly is cheering against Oklahoma State tonight. Kansas State, same thing. So we'll keep an eye on the Big 12 race to see who's going to match up with Texas in that the Big 12 title game next week. And then Oregon State is tonight, and for obvious reasons, that's massive to all of us because Bo Nix and the Ducks are at home. They're a 2-touchdown favorite over Oregon State and the Beavers. But Oregon State, they've been a bit of a different team at home than on the road. They've been awesome at home. We've talked about that with Phil Steele all throughout the year. But that Oregon State defense is really salty, and they handcuffed Michael Penix last week, holding him under 200 passing yards. That was in the rain in Corvallis. This is going to be in Eugene, but it's still one that if you're an LSU fan, you're going to be watching with keen interest because not only would you like to see Oregon State beat Oregon, you'd want to see Bo Nix really struggle in this ballgame. Not that you want to wish ill on somebody, but for Jaden Daniels' Heisman candidacy, if Jaden goes out tomorrow and does what he's done all year and puts up 400 yards of offense in the game and accounts for a handful of touchdowns, and Bo Nix and Oregon lose at home to Oregon State and he struggles, well, Jaden's Heisman odds are just going to be dramatically better. And I don't know that Bo Nix next weekend could make up the difference. So, yeah, if you're an LSU fan, you're obviously watching Oregon State in the Civil War tonight with a very close eye. All right, it's After Further Review. We're brought to you by Traction, TractionSports.com, Traction, where champions are made. Friends over at Traction wishing everybody a very happy Thanksgiving. Hope you had an awesome Thanksgiving holiday. Of course, the Traction Thanksgiving holiday camps are going on. But remember, the Christmas and New Year's holiday camps are coming up as well. You're a month away from Christmas, and a week after Christmas is New Year's. So if you're starting to think about it, whenever the Christmas holidays come and New Year's, what are you going to do with your kiddos? Well, they got the holiday baseball camp and the holiday speed camp. So the baseball camp, 5 to 12. The speed camp go all the way up through high school, and they have full and half-day options. So you want your son or daughter to get better at their specific sport during the holidays, they could do it at Traction. TractionSports.com, TractionSports.com. Traction, where champions are made. Okay, let's do it. We do it every day about this time. Let's go around the SEC.
Around the SEC, presented by Gulf Coast Office Products, excellence in imaging solutions. The Ole Miss Rebels, the Mississippi State Bulldogs.
All right, the Egg Bowl last night in Stark Vegas. I didn't see that one being 3-0 at half. That's exactly what it was, though. And Ole Miss outlasts Mississippi State 17-7. Just 307 total yards for Ole Miss, 303 for Mississippi State. One of the beautiful things about rivalries, you can throw out the records when they get together. Will Rogers threw it 39 times for 207 yards, so it was a little bit of a throwback to the offense that they had run with the air raid prior to Zach Arnett changing everything. But Ole Miss, for just the second time in their program's history, finishes with a 10-win regular season, both of them in the last 3 years under Lane Kiffin.
The Missouri Tigers, the Arkansas Razorbacks.
All right, we're keeping an eye on this game as we sit here. They are live. Missouri's 9-2, trying to finish with a 10-win regular season. Arkansas, which earlier this week announced Sam Pittman will return, they're at 4-7, 1-6 in the league. Arkansas at home in this ball game. Missouri with a 7-0 lead in the early going. We'll keep you posted as this one goes along. We kind of glanced up at the TV in studio, and it looked like KJ Jefferson was limping off with injury. So we'll keep you posted if there's anything update there. Missouri did add a field goal. It's 10-0 Mizzou over Arkansas with about under 5 to play in the first quarter.
The Alabama Crimson Tide, the Auburn Tigers.
Well, they'll play the Iron Bowl, and Alabama leads the all-time series 49-37-1. Last week, both played their layup games or cupcake games with dramatically different results. Of course, Bama beat Chattanooga 66-10, and New Mexico State and Jerry Kill went to the Plains and handed Auburn an embarrassing 3-touchdown loss. Can Auburn bounce back? Big question is, can Auburn find enough offense? The Auburn Tigers 119th in the country in passing offense, 21st in the country in rushing offense. Can they get going at all against that Alabama defense, which has been pretty salty? Not likely. Bama and Auburn, 2:30 on CBS on Saturday.
The Vanderbilt Commodores, the Tennessee Volunteers.
Only thing of interest here is if Vanderbilt can avoid an 0-8 conference record. Tennessee 7-4, 3-4 in the league, trying to get to 500 in conference play. The game is at Neyland Stadium. Vanderbilt did have a bye last week, so 2 weeks to prepare for this game, try to get a little healthier, while last week, the last time we saw Tennessee, they were losing to the Georgia Bulldogs at home.
The Florida Gators.
So the obvious intrigue here is Florida's hosting Florida State, and there's no Jordan Travis as he suffered the devastating leg injury a week ago for Florida State. The Noles are 11-0. They're trying to polish off a perfect regular season. They'll have Louisville next week in the ACC championship game. Florida needs this win for bowl eligibility. If they lose, they would have lost out the entire month of November. So last week, Missouri beat Florida up in Como when Florida gagged away an opportunity to get a win over a top 10 team. Florida State with a ton to play for. Florida relegated to playing a spoiler and try to get to bowl eligibility.
The Georgia Bulldogs.
Not much to say about this with Georgia and Georgia Tech. This just isn't a great Georgia Tech team. They are 6-5 on the season. They will go bowling, but Georgia's resting a lot of guys this week. We're planning to rest a lot of guys this week to get ready for the SEC championship game next week against Alabama. It's largely inconsequential because next week what happens in the SEC championship game will determine Georgia's CFP fate.
The Kentucky Wildcats.
Well, this one will be an interesting point of motivation. Louisville's 10-1, and although none of us really want to think of it, they are still in play for the college football playoff. If Louisville beats Kentucky, finishes 11-1, and takes a swing at undefeated top 5 Florida State without Jordan Travis and manages to win the ACC, there are a manner of dominoes that could fall that could put Louisville in the college football playoff. It's not an impossibility, especially with what's going to happen in the Pac-12 and a lot of those teams playing each other. So file that away. Louisville's got a lot to play for, and Kentucky at 6-5 on the season would love to play spoiler. this is this game is at Cardinal Stadium, where Louisville has been awesome this year, and that's kind of the big difference. They've been a very different team at home as opposed to on the road. Like Louisville in this ballgame, but Kentucky has a big opportunity to play sport.
The South Carolina Gamecocks.
And South Carolina's at home against Clemson. And, of course, South Carolina finished the season so strong last year when they blew out Clemson at home after beating Tennessee. So they'll play this when both teams. Clemson's 6-5. South Carolina trying to get the bowl eligibility. They're at 5-6 on the season. So they got to beat Clemson at home to get the bowl eligibility. Maybe bring DeRude back and see if he can get you there. Clemson beat North Carolina last week. South Carolina with the, say an impressive win, but a nice home win over Kentucky, 17-14. Again, Clemson needs this one to get the bowl eligibility, which would be a nice bounce back after being stuck on 2 wins as you turn the calendar to the month of November. All right, it's after further review. There you have it. That is Around the SEC, presented by Gulf Coast Office Products. Shout out to our guy Trey Beal and our friends at Gulf Coast Office Products, online at gcopnet.com. gcopnet.com for Gulf Coast Office Products. Face-to-face sales, service after the sale. That's what you get at Gulf Coast Office Products, the official office equipment provider of the LSU Tigers, the New Orleans Saints, the New Orleans Pelicans, and the ULL Ragin' Cajuns. See, Arkansas does have a backup in. Are you keeping an eye? I'm trying to see who they have in at quarterback right now. But KJ Jefferson was helped off the field a bit ago, and
Jacoby Criswell is in for Arkansas at quarterback.
Has he played at all this year?
That's what I'm looking up right now. For what it's worth, he's a junior. Yes, he played last week in relief in the blowout of FIU. Also played against Auburn and Western Carolina.
All right. KJ was 2 for 2 for 2 yards. Ran it 2 times for 15 yards. Just saw him we're trying to keep an eye on the game as we're doing the show as well. So I just saw him being assisted off the field. So backup quarterback in for Arkansas, unenviable against Missouri. You already leads 10-0 and have the ball now deep in their own territory. So we'll keep you up to date on that as they're still in the first quarter. 3.5 to play in the first quarter. Missouri up 10-0 on Arkansas. Maybe the only reason that's intriguing, this game, if you're just thinking from an LSU perspective, and we have been talking a lot about, to a lesser degree, obviously all the LSU conversation has been about Jaden, Heisman, and then A&M, and to a much lesser degree, where LSU might land in a bowl. Everyone's sort of resigned to the fact that it's probably going to be ReliaQuest, Gator, maybe Citrus. If things sort of fall your way, we'll see. But the long shot was, if LSU was going to have a chance to get into a New Year's Six, you really needed Ole Miss to lose last night to Mississippi State, and you need Arkansas to beat Missouri. Had both of those things happened, and LSU was amid a clump of 3-loss teams where LSU had beaten Missouri, Ole Miss had beaten LSU. What might the committee have done? And it might have favored LSU because Ole Miss is only a couple of spots ahead of LSU, and if LSU beats A&M and Ole Miss has a sort of recent loss, and as would have Missouri, LSU maybe could have jumped up into the New Year's Six conversation. But with Ole Miss's win last night, that essentially all but eliminates that. It's hard to fabricate a scenario where LSU could get into the New Year's Six as a 9-3 football team. So I would think the best case for LSU right now, if you're just thinking about bowl possibilities, remember, after the committee places the playoff and the New Year's Six is chosen, the highest ranked SEC team not in the New Year's Six automatically goes to the Citrus Bowl. That's where LSU was a year ago, but that may be the best possible scenario for LSU this year, is to go back to the Citrus Bowl. If Missouri wins this, they at 10-2 could also end up likely in a New Year's Six game as an at-large. So you could have Bama, Georgia, Ole Miss, and Missouri all in the playoff New Year's Six in whatever combination, which would send LSU to the Citrus Bowl. So we'll know that after next week. We'll have a much clearer picture of it, but LSU didn't get the help it needed last night with Mississippi State. They're not getting it right now with Missouri. All right, it's after further review. Friday show is brought to you by Don Juan Cigar Bar. Don Juan is opening up at 10:30 tomorrow. So T-Bob will be there for the whole game. I think I might get by and watch the whole game at Don Juan as well. So if you want to find a place to watch the game, you come hang out with us at Don Juan. Of course, if you're looking for a place to hang out after the game, Whiskey and Wine live from Don Juan Cigar Bar after every LSU game. So as soon as the clock hits 0, we'll be live over at Don Juan Cigar Bar, and we'll look for you there as we recap LSU and Texas A&M tomorrow from Don Juan Cigar Bar in Town Center. Okay, let me knock out a quick break. We're up hour number one. We'll get to Mel Kiper, who updated his big board. We'll get to that in about 17 minutes from right now. Mike Triplett, about 30 minutes from right now. Glad to have you aboard with us here on this Black Friday edition of AFR. If you're driving around town, doing some shopping, we appreciate you for hanging out with us. Tell a friend we're on today. We'd love to hang out here as we move through this Black Friday. Stick around. It's AFR.
AFR. It's a raving fan shout-out. Presented by Darren James and Associates, brokered by eXp Realty.
Shelly Coloni is a satisfied customer who gave this raving fan shout-out. Super helpful, professional, knowledgeable, and efficient. Darren never made us feel like we were bothering him. He was very patient with us every time we had questions or concerns. It truly matters to him if you are successful in buying or selling your home. Other realtors should take notes and learn from Darren James. Great team. Another 5-star review of Darren James and Associates, brokered by eXp Realty. If you're thinking about selling your home, maybe you're looking to buy a home, don't go it alone. Hire the realtor that sells more homes than anyone. Call Darren James, 335-7666, 335-7666, or agent225.com. Remember the guaranteed sale program. Price and a deadline, agree to it. If he doesn't sell your home at a price by a deadline you agree to, he'll have your home bought with cash, or he'll sell it for free for his half of the commission. It's Darren James.
Think real estate, think Darren James.
Hey, boat owners, check it out. It is the holiday season, which means it's time to buy yourself a gift by taking your boat to the next level with our friends at Front to Back Boat Service. Now is the perfect time to upgrade your boat and get it ready for that warmer weather, whether that's trolling motors, HD sonar, anything and everything. The Sherman family's been at it for 30 years, and Devin's going to take you through 30 more. Find him on Facebook at Front to Back Boat Service, or go to fronttobackboatservice.com.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary, for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected. Supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team. And backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
The importance of doing this fortified program and offering it to people down here is, number one, the only real chance you're going to get to do this is when you put on a new roof or build new. And through companies like HUDCO, who's kind of leading the way in this thing, it's going to offer the customers a huge advantage in the insurance market and the price of their insurance.
You know, we're not looking to make a fortune off fortifying. We're trying to give you a better product than our competitor at the moment. I'm trying to do something that he can. I'm trying to give you something better. So a lot of these insurance shops, you're getting a re-roof, you're only paying your deductible. Let's sit down and talk about the fortified, and let's see what it does to your insurance premium. You're getting a steal.
Yeah.
You're getting a brand new roof and a fortified certificate for your deductible, essentially. And I think we're rocking and rolling.
Would a couple that just came from a couples massage have any use for the massage seats of the Infiniti QX60? Yes, it appears they would. With driver and passenger massage seats, mute all your notifications and feel infinitely you.
Dylan Cruz here to tell you about Six Rings Baseball and Softball Camp. If you live on the North Shore and play ball, go to Six Rings Camps with former LSU assistant coach Dan Canaveri. His knowledge is second to none, and your child will improve and have fun doing it. Camps were held at Coquille Park and Six Rings Academy in Covington with 4 sessions over the summer. Full day and morning only sessions are available from ages 7 to 13. Go to sixringsbaseball.com or call 985-206.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Don Juan Cigar Bar.
I just uploaded a video to my Instagram and Facebook story. I guess I can post it on Twitter as well. My day today was spent getting 14 Christmas decoration boxes out of the attic and then going to Clegg's to get our Christmas tree. It's our Moscona family Black Friday tradition. Is we have Thanksgiving, we wake up on Black Friday, we go to Clegg's to get our Christmas tree. I get all the stuff out of the attic, and then Erica spends the day turning our house into Santa's workshop, a giant winter wonderland. 14 boxes. Paul, how many does Sam decorate for Christmas a lot at the house?
She does.
Does she do a lot?
I wouldn't say a lot, but it's a good amount.
Elaborate a bit, Paul. Mantle. What kind of stuff do you have?
The entryway, the mantle, the table, stuff like that.
Yeah. You have like a runner on the table, candles, Christmas stuff. Yeah. You have 14 boxes in the attic you got to get down?
We don't have 14. I think we have about 8. Probably 8 or 9, somewhere around there.
I'm wondering if someone can challenge my 14. I'm not talking about little brown paper boxes. I'm talking, those like 27-gallon black tubs, like
the plastic ones.
Yeah, the big Rubbermaid tubs, the black tubs with the yellow lids that all can stack. We have 14 of those filled. I had to get those out of the attic today.
Does the number increase? Or do you normally hold steady at 14?
I don't know, but she numbers them after each season and puts a paper, so it's like one of 14. So she counts them and numbers them. So so if we have more stuff or whatever, so they're numbered. And man, all the stuff, all of Drew's Santa toys and everything. So when you see it, if you go to my Instagram is at Matt Moscona, or Facebook, it's at Matt Moscona AFR is the page. You'll see my story there. But it puts it into perspective. But shout out to Clegg's. We had a good morning over at Clegg's. My buddy Butch, Drew's over at Clegg's. They always do a great job. Saw Chris over there this morning. And God, they got a great selection. It really is. I mean, they're such an efficient machine with the number of people they have that come into just to work for like Christmas tree season. You know what I mean? Because like people start going to the tree lots to get your trees. Well, you have to have the people like get the tree. You got to put it through the netting machine. You got to put the stand on it, carry it to the cars. You got to go. So they're an efficient machine over there. We're at the Segan location, so it was a good day.
Good seasonal work, Christmas tree lots. Good, high school job there.
I don't know if any of them were high schoolers.
College.
Yeah, maybe so. Some of the guys doing that.
Extra cash on the side, man. When you're young, works strong.
Tip them I slip everybody a 20 here and there. I'm a good tipper. Like I think that's a very generous tip. You slip someone a 20 to carry a tree to your car, but you know what? You do right by people. You make their spirit bright.
There it is. Yeah.
See.
Merry and bright. 'Tis the season to be merry.
That's my name.
Do you like?
They'll finish.
Are you smooth with the slipping of the 20? No. Okay.
It's not a big deal.
All right.
Just hand them cash.
All right.
I think it's different if you're like tipping a maitre d' or something like that.
Just slip it really out the sleeve.
This was left here on the floor by the chair. It's a book, The Fall of Hyperion. Anyone want to take a guess where this might have come from?
I'm gonna go with T-Bob.
Yeah. You don't think this was Mario?
It could have been, but I don't think so.
Hunt the Good Ag?
It could have been Hunt the Good Ag.
That was most definitely Hunt.
I'm so disappointed in Hunt, too, by the way. I talked to Hunt about doing Hunt the Good Ag again this year, and he said, we lost last year. Like, you loser. Do you honestly think LSU lost because you did Hunt the Good Ag? It's like the best thing you've ever done in your media career. It's no shade. It's no shade at all. Like, it's not to say you haven't done other great things, but that was like the most viral thing he's done in his media career. Like, why wouldn't you double down? Make the sequel. Do Austin Powers. Make 6 of them. Who cares? Keep doing it.
You know what we should have done? We should have had Hunt actually show up to midnight yell practice tonight.
Well, no. I mean, that's in College Station.
No, it's here. They do it on the road.
No, they do it back home.
I'm pretty sure it's going to be in downtown Baton Rouge tonight.
That's weak.
But
517 pages, The Fall of Hyperion. Is this real? Or
is there a bookmark in there?
No, but there is a bent
like a little
page.
There's a
folded
page.
27. Ooh, what?
You got a long way to go, man.
I'm gonna mess him up.
Oh, that's rude. that's rude.
Let's put it at page 161. We'll bend it. The Fall of Hyperion. Here we go. There you are.
You think he'll notice? I think he'll notice.
Of course he'll notice. Who cares? T-Bob. Like, look, respect. You want to read this, fine. I'm not saying don't read fiction, nonfiction, whatever. But like, why is the fall of Hyperion here?
Show prep.
No, that's not show prep at all. Why is it here in this studio? That's the problem.
Maybe. Here we go.
There is no explanation.
No, I got one. This is a spin here, but maybe he was putting his laptop back in his backpack and needed to move it and did. And then T-Bob, he's forgetful. He just forgot that he took it out. He never put it back when he was loading his computer back up. That could happen. That's plausible.
It's after further review. Have you ever brought a book into this studio?
No.
Paul, have you ever brought a book in the studio?
I have not.
Right, exactly.
Matt?
No, of course not. Why would I bring a book in this studio? If it wasn't like Phil Steele's college football preview magazine.
There we go.
The only book I'd bring in here. Nobody brings a book. I wouldn't bring a nonfiction Fall of Hyperion into here. Why would you bring that in here? All right, it's after further review. You can tweet us at Matt Moscona. You can jump in the Buy Forward YouTube chat. You can text 225-396-4400, 396-4400. If anyone sees or hears or talks to T-Bob, let him know I changed the bookmark in his book, so he'll have to find his place back in the Fall of Hyperion. Triplett will be with us here in 20 minutes from right now. When we come back after the top of the hour, Mel Kiper updated his big board. So, and if you're not familiar, the big board is just a ranking of the top 25 players that he has in this upcoming draft, not a draft projection, just ranking the best or rating the best players in the draft. So I want to go through that, but he also rates the top 10 players at every position. And I think it's a good opportunity to sort of account for the LSU roster and who has a real decision to make about coming back for next year. So we'll delve into that when we come back. It's after further review, Football Friday edition presented by Don Juan Cigar Bar. Muse and Paulie are here. We're glad you are as well. Stick around. Hour 2 is next.
AFR.
Take 60 seconds and remind you about Relief Windows and ReliefWindows.com. Of course, being colder these past couple of days, if you have drafty windows in your home, you were reminded over the last 48 hours that you have drafty windows in your home. And not only is that uncomfortable, but it's also costly. So if you have your heater going in your home and all that cold air outside is getting in because you have drafty windows, well, it's costing you money. Your heater's having to work overtime to keep your home warm. Same thing during the warm weather months whenever your AC is running. If you want to make your home more energy efficient, Relief Windows can help. These energy efficient replacement windows, they measure twice and install once. Every window is custom made for your home, and they're installed by expert install techs from Relief Windows. It's Relief Windows and ReliefWindows.com. You can always go see them at their corporate showroom right there on Airline Highway in Prairieville, or you can call them at 288-8138, 288-8138 for Relief Windows or ReliefWindows.com.
His name was King. He had a horse along the countryside. I saw him ride. One day they found him.
Follow us on Twitter at 1045ESPN to cast your vote in the Citizens Bank and Trust Poll of the Day. Vote daily inside Off the Bench, live at lunch on Palmer. And after further review, Citizens Bank and Trust brings you the Poll of the Day via Twitter at 1045ESPN.
Relentless reporting gets results.
I'm never going to stop until we get the answers you need.
Uncovering more as the powerful try to cover things up.
What happens in the dark will always come to light.
Founding new principles and practices for the state of Louisiana.
Chief Investigative Reporter Chris Nakamoto.
Chris Nakamoto and the Investigative Unit. Recipients of Columbia University's prestigious DuPont Award.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Step inside an Infiniti QX50, and you'll find a suite of driver-focused features tailored to your tastes. But most of all, you'll find luxury that lets you feel infinitely you. Visit your local Infiniti retailer today.
This is Sports. I'm Kevin Witt to the first ever Black Friday game. It is pretty much been dominated by the Miami Dolphins. 20-6, they lead the Jets. Jets' only score is come on a pick six late in the first half, but also, by the way, they missed the extra point. Also in the first half, the Jets threw a pick six of their own. Tim Boyle's Hail Mary was intercepted at the 1. The Dolphins went 99 yards for the score. Stats in this game: time of possession 28-12 in favor of Miami. Total yards 296-50. The Tim Boyle experiment, it's not working out, but as many said, at least he's not Zach Wilson. Dolphins up 20-6. NBA is looking at allegations that Thunder guard Josh Giddey has been involved in an improper relationship with an underage girl. An NBA spokesman said on Friday. Giddey and Oklahoma City's Thunder coach Mark Daigneault declined to comment on the matter after practice today. NBA in-season tournament, the Orlando Magic just punked the Boston Celtics. They outscored them by 17 points, winning 113-96. The Magic finished group play 3-1. They also have a point differential of plus 22. Oklahoma houses TCU this afternoon in Norman.
Hey, it's Evan Cohen. Coming up Monday, I'll tell you the surprise team that I think will make a run at the NFL playoffs and which one could fall out of the race. It's Unsportsmanlike, Monday, 6 a.m. Eastern, ESPN Radio, ESPN2, and ESPNU.
Matt Moscona.
I'm very important.
After further review.
Say it one more time.
After further review with Matt Moscona.
And here we go.
Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge Studios.
Let's ride!
Hour 2, off we go. Welcome aboard. Glad you're with us. It's AFR presented by Down One Cigar Bar. I'm Matt.
Love you, Matt.
Paul O'Neill.
They're chanting Paul O'Neill's name.
And Mr. Toby Tomplin. All right, we're here. Glad you are as well. Get out there and make it a good one. Mike Triplett in 15 minutes. We appreciate Mike. Missed him yesterday on Thanksgiving, so he's good enough to jump aboard with us today. Mike should be in great mood. Iowa, Mike's a Hawkeye. Iowa won the juggernaut, that is, 13-10 over Nebraska. Kept the Cornhuskers out of bowl eligibility. I really shouldn't have thrown T-Bob's book like that. He's probably pretty devastated because the Cornhuskers didn't make it to bowl eligibility, and then I throw his book, and I messed up his bookmark. Was it, again, The Fall of Hyperion? I'm sure it's a great book. I'm sure it's a page-turner. Hey, Mel Kiper has updated his big board. And if you're not familiar, the Mel Kiper big board is basically just his ranking of the top 25 players in the draft. It's not a mock draft. It's a ranking, 1 to 25. Here are the 25 best players at any position in the draft. And then he ranks the top 10 at every position. Number 1 overall player in the draft, he's got Caleb Williams from USC. That's where he's been pretty much consistently. and hard to argue. He draws a lot of comparisons to Patrick Mahomes, and if that's the comparison you're drawing, then I can understand why people would have him there. Marvin Harrison Jr. Kuiper has number 2 on his big board. Very interesting about the receivers, which I'll get to in a second. But after Marvin Harrison Jr., Drake May at number 3. Brock Bowers from Georgia, number 4. Rome Odunze from Washington, 5. Shadur Sanders, 6. We'll come back to that here in a second. The big offensive tackle out of Penn State, Fashanu, at 7. Keon Coleman, 8. And then there you find Malik Neighbors, number 9 on the list. So the number 9 overall prospect in the draft. Again, number 9 at any position in the entire draft is where Mel Kiper has Malik Neighbors. So what a massive jump Malik has taken this year with the season he's had, as we've talked about. Malik Neighbors has had the best receiving season of any player in college football this year. He has been the best and most productive receiver in college football this year. And even with that, there are still 3 receivers that Kiper ranks ahead of Malik Neighbors. Like, by context, he's got Mel Kiper has Malik Neighbors as the 9th best prospect in the entire draft, any position, but the 4th best receiver in the draft. That's almost like whenever you look at recruiting rankings. Like when you're in the SEC and you're like at the 9th best class in the country, but you're the 4th best class in the SEC because it's just a glut of SEC teams at the top of the list. That's kind of what it's like this year for the receiving crop in the draft. And the reason I think that's most interesting, first of all, congrats to Malik. He's had a great year. He has been a great receiver during his time at LSU. And, you know, breaking out the way he has this year is going to get him broke off. He's going to get his bag. He might well be a top 10 pick, and that is awesome. So congrats to Malik on all that. But maybe the more interesting conversation here is when we start to look at who may come back, and Kyron Lacy may have to take a hard look at this. Like, I don't know anything. Like, I'm not telling you have any inside information as to what Kyron Lacy may be thinking or what he may do. But Lacy could take advantage of the COVID year. He spent 2 years at ULL and now 2 years at LSU. But he could take advantage of the COVID year and come back for a 5th season in 2024. And if he did, he presumably would be LSU's number 1 receiver. Keep in mind, like, not only has Lacy been overshadowed by Malik Neighbors and Brian Thomas, who, by the way, Mel Kiper, when he ranks the top 10 at each position, we know he's got Neighbors 4. He's got Brian Thomas, the 7th best receiver in this draft. So you're talking about 2 of the top 7 players at their position in the country. If they both leave, Kyron Lacy becomes the guy next year. He becomes your number 1 guy, your feature guy, not overshadowed by Neighbors or Thomas. It might make, and by the way, and not in a draft class where there's this glut of elite receiving talent where even if you do come out, it's going to push you further down the board because there's so much high-end receiving talent in this draft. So Kyron Lacy is one guy who may have a really sincere decision to make after this season. The only other player, the players that Kiper had, he did not have Jaden Daniels in his top 25. But he does have Jaden Daniels rated as the 4th best quarterback in this draft class. He goes Caleb Williams, Drake May, Shadur Sanders, Jaden Daniels, Carson Beck, Bo Nix, J.J. McCarthy, Michael Penix, Michael Pratt, Spencer Rattler. That's his top 10. I'm a little surprised to see Shadur Sanders there because Deion has said pretty openly Shadur is going back to school. So if Shadur Sanders returns to school, that would mean, according to Kiper's rankings, Jaden Daniels would be the 3rd best quarterback in this draft after Caleb Williams and Drake May. Now, where are the quarterback-needy teams that are going to be willing to pull the trigger on a first-round draft pick? And after Williams and May are off the board, is Daniels that next guy? That is going to be a fascinating story that's going to unfold here over the next several months as we move through draft prep, Senior Bowl, Combine, and ultimately the draft. After Daniels and the 2 receivers, Neighbors and Thomas, the only other player that Kiper ranks among the top 10 at his position is Mekhi Wingo. who he's got ranked as the 10th best defensive tackle in this year's draft class. No Mason Smith. I know that's not going to surprise many people here because of the season that Mason Smith has had, but Mason Smith is still a very talented prospect, and if he decides to come out for the draft, someone is going to pull the trigger and take Mason Smith, probably as a day 2 pick. But when I saw Wingo there as the 10th best defensive tackle, despite the injury, it got me thinking, like, would it make sense for Wingo to come back? Just for context, in this most recent draft, the 10th defensive tackle that came off the board was actually Apuaika. And he went round 3, number 98 overall. That was the last pick of round 3. So if you're Mekhi Wingo and you're coming off of injury, and you're thinking, okay, if you project somewhere as a late day 2 pick, is it worth it to come back for your senior year at LSU? Put on the 18 jersey again? Come help sort of reestablish this defense and this defensive line as one of the elites in college football? Come back, play a full season healthy, which clearly Mekhi Wingo wasn't earlier this year when he was on the field before he opted to have surgery. I don't know. I don't know what Mekhi Wingo's decision is going to be. But he could play next season. He's a true junior. He could come back for his 4th year as a senior and play next year. So when I thought about that with Lacey, the possibility receiver, and Wingo, the possibility defensive tackle, I was like, who else might it make sense for? And by the way, Brian Kelly on Monday, when he met with reporters, acknowledged the fact that there could be some players that are honored Saturday for senior day that make the decision to return.
Each year, we go through this process where you could have a couple senior days. It's one of those kind of situations where, we're really working off of their academic calendar, not necessarily their eligibility calendar. So we want to be able to honor them off of their academic calendar and what they've done in the classroom. And so there is that opportunity that somebody could come back because we're still dealing with the COVID year as that additional year of eligibility.
So if you're wondering what players may have a legitimate and sincere decision to make, I think there are 6 offensively and 5 defensively. I think these are the players you're watching. On the offensive line, Charles Turner could return for a 6th year. He redshirted in 2019. He's played 4 seasons. He has the COVID year. So Charles Turner could return for a 6th year in 2024. Miles Frazier could return for a 5th year in 2024. Remember, he was at FIU, transferred to LSU last year, so he's used his 4 years, but he could use the COVID year next year. And then Garrett Dellinger is a true junior. So I don't know if Dellinger's planning on leaving early for the draft, but he's a true junior and could return next year for his senior season. If that happens, your entire starting offensive line could return intact. I don't know that it will, but it could. I already talked about Kyron Lacey, how I think he has a great opportunity should he choose to return. And at running back, Logan Diggs is a junior and could return for his senior year. And Josh Williams, like Charles Turner, could have a 6th season next year if he wanted it. Now, John Emery and Noah Cain, they're out of eligibility. They're done. But Josh Williams, redshirted in 2019, he's played 4 seasons, but he could use the COVID year if he wanted to come back for a 6th season in 2024. I don't know that he will. Obviously, a lot of people are excited about Caleb Jackson and Trey Holly. And then we'll see if Diggs elects to return and what happens there. But Josh Williams could return for 2024 if he wanted to. Defensively, you got 4 players on the defensive line. Mason Smith, who's a redshirt sophomore. Mekhi Wingo, who's a true junior that we just talked about. And then there's 2 upperclassmen that could use their COVID year. Braden Swinson and Paris Shand. Swinson, who came from Oregon, Shand, who came from Arizona. Both of them are 4th-year players who could use their COVID year for a 5th year of eligibility next year in the way that we saw a lot of guys do this season. And then Zy Alexander would be the other. Zy Alexander could come back next year, use his COVID year for a 5th year of eligibility. So 6 players offensively I think we're keeping an eye on. Turner, Frazier, Dellinger on the offensive line, Kyron Lacey, and then Diggs and Josh Williams. I think those guys have decisions to make. And then defensively, primarily on the defensive front, Smith, Wingo, Swinson, Shand, and then Zy Alexander. So 11 players right there. some of them certainly are going to be honored Saturday morning in Tiger Stadium on Senior Day, but they all have the opportunity to come back as well and continue playing at LSU and maybe push toward a championship next year. Those are the players I'll be watching closely, their decisions this offseason. Okay, it's After Further Review. Friday shows are brought to you by Don Juan Cigar Bar. We'll knock out a quick break. When we come back, we'll chat with Mike Triplett as we do every single week to preview the Saints game. So Saints are back at it on the road against Atlanta. We'll preview it next with Mike Triplett. Stick around.
AFR.
AFR is brought to you by Pluckers, Nicholson, and Bluebonnet Dine-In, Carry-Out, or Delivery. With 28 flavors of award-winning jumbo chicken wings, ice, cold, draft beer, full-service bar, sports on TV. And by sports on TV, of course, today I mean football. Black Friday has become a really traditional college football day now. There's a full slate of games. Of course, you have games all day on Saturday. Pluckers is open, regular hours. They'll be open at 11 a.m. So if you're looking to get by and watch the game, you can do it at either Pluckers location, Nicholson or Bluebonnet, dine-in, carry-out, or delivery. All of your football Saturday. Of course, your NFL Sunday. If you want a place to watch all the games, you can do it at Pluckers. Of course, Thursday night, Amazon Prime. They got the game today with the Dolphins and the Jets. If you couldn't watch that one, they got it at Pluckers. So remember, any sporting event that you want to watch in any league, anytime, they've got it at Pluckers. And, of course, they've got award-winning jumbo chicken wings, ice-cold draft beer, full-service bar. It's at Pluckers. Nicholson, Bluebonnet, dine-in, carry-out, or delivery. Remember at Pluckers if you don't like our wings. We'll give you the bird.
At Corval Toyota in Opelousas, you can lock in the low rate of 3.99% on a Toyota Highlander. That's right, 3.99%. Lock in your low rate while you still can. At Corval Toyota in Opelousas, Happy Town, USA.
Running Boards Marketing can help you get their attention. Imagine your brand's message on a giant LED billboard truck that can't be skipped and is nearly impossible to ignore. Running Boards Marketing is the leader in effective and affordable advertising on digital mobile billboards, which are 2 times more effective than traditional billboards. With a 97% recall rate, you'll leave a lasting impression with your customers.
It was a humid day, barefoot children play, looking for that summer shade. Time just slips away. Oh, Louisiana, some kind of hold on me. Like cypress stumps, your roots are planted deep inside of me.
The interior of an Infiniti is thoughtfully designed to be all about you. And by you, we mean every version of you. Because there's luxury you can feel, and there's luxury that lets you feel. Infinitely you. Experience luxury like never before with Infiniti Premium Care, included with the 2023 QX80 at your local retailer.
Electricity is all around us, and our families depend on it. Every day is sparked by the power of a cold drink or a warm meal, a movie night, and a comforting light at the end of a dark hallway. From sunrise to sunset, playtime to bedtime, our team is ready to take care of your electrical needs. Even in the case of an after-hours emergency, the light in your life shines brighter with Mr. Electric.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary, for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
At Relief Windows, we're more than windows. We're windows, doors, hardy plank, and vinyl siding. But our #1 product is always customer satisfaction. Visit us online at Relief Windows.
After Further Review with Matt Moscona, presented by Don Juan Cigar Bar.
Mike! Yeah?
Saints coverage with some Mad Libs mixed in.
Why don't you just go by Mike?
It's time to talk black and gold with Mike Triplett of New Orleans Football, presented by Benny's Car Wash, family owned and operated since 1951.
All right, let's do it. Mike Triplett, good enough to join us on this Black Friday. How are you, man?
Doing good. We don't have a Hail Mary return for a pick six on the Saints bingo card yet this year. There's still time, though.
By the way, congrats to the Iowa Hawkeyes. I'm sure you were thrilled earlier today with the 13-10 win.
10-2. My dad sent me a text today, unverified, but he said, never before in college football history had a team averaging less than 250 yards won more than 4 games, and they've now won 10 games. I swear to you, I want the Iowa-LSU bowl game, and I think we can get it.
No.
I mean, they line up.
No.
What happens? What Iowa's offense versus LSU's defense? Give me the over-under on how many points Iowa scores against LSU's defense.
13 and a
Can
half.
it hit 20?
No, 13 and a half.
What? 13 and a half?
Yeah.
All right.
They don't even try to score, Mike. They don't even try to score points.
Yeah, they do. They try to pin you back on the one and then get a safety. They've done that like 3 times.
All right, well done, touche. Look, I saw that game in 2013, and I do not ever want to see it again. No, that's ugly. God bless anyone who has to sit there and watch that brand of football. But congrats on the win. I'm sure it's great.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. I'm sure they're going to hold up well against the Michigan-Ohio State winner next week.
Well, hey, you want to see what it might look like? But actually, Michigan's the same damn way. I mean, they'll take the air out of the ball. I'll take the under in that game if it goes that way.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Pro Football Focus, Mike, had this number. If the Saints beat the Falcons, their odds of making the playoffs, 80%. If they lose to the Falcons, the number drops to 44%. Does that make sense?
Yes and no. I could see a computer coming up with that generation, but we know from watching the Saints that it doesn't matter who they play. I mean, that is true because they have one of the easiest schedules that I ever remember covering in all my years of doing this. I mean, the NFL is bad in general this year, and it's really bad around the NFC South and the AFC South, who they also played, and the NFC in general. So, yeah, they if they can beat Atlanta and take a 2-game lead in this division and only face like one more team with a winning record the whole rest of the way, then yeah, the odds are very much in their favor. They're more in their favor than they are for Atlanta or Tampa Bay. But, we cover this team in more of a, not who are the Saints playing this week. It's what Saints are going to show up this week. And I think they could probably stumble into a 9-8 record without getting any better. But I still want to see the better version of this Saints team earn their way into the playoffs.
Mike, let's talk a little bit about Marshawn Lattimore and Michael Thomas, their absence, what that means specifically this week in this matchup against Atlanta.
Well, obviously it hurts. Marshawn Lattimore in particular. I mean, look, last year we saw this defense hold together pretty well, even though we missed 9 games in the middle of the season. I like their secondary depth better than I like their depth at any other position, but I think he might be the best player on the team. So you're really sugarcoating. Can they survive against quarterbacks like Desmond Ridder and offenses like Atlanta? Absolutely. Detroit will be much tougher the next week. I do like, obviously, how Paulson Adebo's playing this year. I do think Alante Taylor on the outside or moving into the slot and nickel, and Isaac Yadam coming in and playing on the outside. I mean, those are guys that can hold up, but yeah, I'm not going to pretend like it's not a huge blow to lose Marshawn Lattimore. And then the same with Michael Thomas. They haven't been getting nearly enough out of Michael Thomas this year, but that's one of the things that I would have listed as a top priority. It just becomes that much harder when you don't have that potential go-to guy who should be catching the ball on third downs. Now I don't know exactly who your go-to guy should be on third down.
One thing is for sure, Derek Carr clears the protocol, so he'll be a go on Sunday. Obviously, Derek Carr's well. Let me not say obviously. Do you still feel Derek Carr? Do you feel Derek Carr gives the Saints the best chance to win Sunday in Atlanta?
Yes, I do. I mean, I think for Jameis Winston or even Taysom Hill to be the answer to that question, I would want the offense dedicated to those guys. I would want them named the starter in April and building the game plan around them and working with the receivers all the way through. So if you want to make an argument for Jameis Winston and Taysom Hill, I don't think the argument is just throw them in there. But we still need to see it with Derek Carr. We need to see evidence of why we think he's supposed to be the guy over those other two and why the Saints picked him and paid him so much more than those other two. And I don't know if a bye week is enough time for self-scouting and evaluation and figuring out, what positives you can accentuate. Derek Carr seems pretty optimistic that he thought the last 5 weeks were encouraging to him compared to the first 5 weeks. Hopefully the third 5 weeks or the third 7 weeks is by far the best yet, though.
On the other side, under center, it's Desmond Ridder, who's going to be back in as a starter. This will be the first time, obviously, the Saints have lined up against the Falcons this year and against Ridder. He was 2-2 late in the year last year when he got his opportunity. Do you have any sense, Mike, of how the Saints may fare against Desmond Ridder, and specifically because of how much this team this year has struggled to pressure the quarterback?
Yeah, well, look, I've never had a more obvious game plan read in my talking about what you have to do to win a game than this one. It is the all-time ultimate. You have to stop the run against a team that is scary running the ball in Atlanta. I think they could be really good at it. They're stubborn with it. They're going to do it 30 times in this game. Bijan Robinson feels like a ticking time bomb waiting to explode, and they finally gave him 22 carries before the bye. They've been holding him back all year. But he had a quote during their bye week. They also just had a bye week saying, that's great that they preserved me for an 18-game season, but now we got to do whatever it takes to win. I just think it is going to be the Bijan Robinson show. And if they stop him for the entire first half, they're going to have to stop him again in the second half. Atlanta does not want this game in Desmond Ridder's hands. Atlanta never wants it to be 3rd and 7 or longer. They want Desmond Ridder to not matter in this game. So the Saints are going to have to stop the run. And if they can do that, then, they can tee off on Desmond Ridder and maybe get some of those sacks and maybe force some interceptions. But they're going to have to stop the run repeatedly to ever, have Desmond Ridder even be in a vulnerable position in this game.
Yeah, Mike's right. The 22 carries, that obviously was a career high, but the 22 for just 95 yards. So I don't know how you feel about it, Mike, but if the Saints, if Bijan Robinson gets 22 carries and you keep him under 100 yards, I would look at that as a win.
That's what you got to do. And look, Atlanta lost that game. So, but that's a secret. And look, we saw this against something I've been asking guys about and writing about a little bit this week is we don't actually have a great feel for how good the Saints' run defense is against running backs this year. We know they've had this horrible problem with leaky yardage to quarterbacks who are running the ball. But Indianapolis is the best example I can come up with. They had Jonathan Taylor back. They had Zach Moss. And they did a good job for the most part against that team, but they gave up a couple of 40-yard runs. And that's just what you can't do to Atlanta. You can't give Atlanta that 50-yard run where he finally breaks free and you get a one-play scoring drive. You're already in field goal position. They're going to have to be on their toes the entire game against this guy. And, the big story in Atlanta has been underusing him. And why aren't you using him more? Why hasn't he made a bigger impact? But he's the one guy that can win this game for Atlanta. And Atlanta's going to give him, 20-plus attempts probably to have that explosive play.
Mike Triplett's with us on Twitter at Mike Triplett, NewOrleans.football. Of course, our chats every week are brought to you by Benny's Car Wash. Benny's got a great Cyber Monday sale, as you might imagine. Get to Benny'sCarWash.com, Benny'sCarWash.com. Another angle here, Mike, of course, is the familiarity. Ryan Nielsen's there, David Onyemata, Caden Ellis, Kentavious Street. Do you think that plays into any either side one way or another?
Not necessarily. I mean, I think that's an advantage that goes both ways. So I think it plays into the game for sure, but I don't know that it gives one side an advantage over the other. And I'm not all that wowed by Atlanta's defense. I mean, I think the bigger additions they made this offseason were probably Jesse Bates at safety. Calais Campbell's a little older version of who used to be a great player, Bud Dupree at linebacker. So they added a lot of talent to that defense, but I still think they're kind of a middle-of-the-pack defense. And I don't think that should be a preventative for New Orleans. And it's funny, I was joking today on our show. You could say Atlanta knows the Saints very familiar. I'm sure a lot of those guys know their offensive linemen really well, but I don't even think the Saints know their own offensive identity or what their bread and butter is and what their go-to plays are. So I don't know how Atlanta can know them.
No, there's a lot of legitimacy there. Last year, Mike, we also saw the Saints coming off the bye rip off a 3-game winning streak. Did they do anything last year that you could draw a parallel to give me reason for optimism that they might be able to get hot this year coming off the bye?
I think the bye is a little coincidental.
Okay.
But, I mean, look, I think the best thing you could say that Dennis Allen has done in his 2 years as head coach was what he did with his defense last year, and how they were off to a bad start, and how and then they lost Marshawn Lattimore, and he kind of stayed the course and believed in the core principles of their defense and stuck with it. And, you know, the players remained confident that he could do that. And then down the stretch last year, they played some of their best defensive football, certainly late in the year against Cleveland in that Ice Bowl game, at Philadelphia when they got Space Gardner Minshew. San Francisco even gave them a chance to win. I mean, they were just playing such great defense down the stretch. I hope he can do that same thing with his defense this year because, you know, look, we don't know that they can find their offense at any point, but they better find their defense because that's what has to be special on this team. And it's been really disturbing how loose it's gotten on defense the last 5 weeks.
Mike Triplett is with us. Hey, before you go, I know you and I don't talk point spreads a bunch or anything like that, but the game opened with Atlanta as a 1-point favorite. It shifted to the Saints now, a slight 2-point favorite. Are you in any way surprised that it's that? I get it's the NFL and everybody's professionals, but Atlanta with Desmond Ridder, as much as they struggle, it would feel like this is a game where New Orleans should be a fairly obvious choice. No, yes, no?
Yeah, I guess maybe when it opened, there was the Derek Carr, Marshawn Lattimore, Michael Thomas triple whammy of injuries. Three of probably you could almost argue the three most important players on the team, but certainly three of the top 5 most important players on the team. So maybe that affected the opening line. Saints by 2 feels kind of right. They have one more win, and they were supposed to be the better team to start with. But, in my mind, I would consider it a pick-em. My feeling on whether or not I think this is one the Saints should win feels completely 50-50 to me.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's saying these Saints should win a game. That completely feels arbitrary at this point.
If you're a gambler who's been watching the Saints this year, I don't think you can give them 3 points against anybody. Somebody will say, "Yeah, I like them to cover the 3." I mean, you can if you're in a pick 'em pool and you're like, "Ooh, who am I picking this week? New Orleans or Atlanta?" I'll probably pick New Orleans, but New Orleans plus more than a point against anybody, you never know what team's going to show up.
Yeah, and Falcons, of course, have Young Wei Koo, who's one of the most clutch kickers in the league. So if it comes down to a kick, the advantage clearly shifts to Atlanta at home. Mike Triplett, NewOrleans.football. He's on Twitter at Mike Triplett, and our chats every week are brought to you by Benny's Car Wash. Hey, man, belated happy Thanksgiving. Thanks again for jumping aboard with us here this Friday.
You, of course.
All right, man.
Thanks for having me, and happy Thanksgiving to you, too.
Our pleasure. That's Mike Triplett. This is After Further Review. Of course, our chats with Mike are brought to you by Benny's Car Wash. Get to bennyscarwash.com. Cyber Monday sale. They got a BOGO on prepaid memberships right now with all wash plans included. That's coming up on Monday, Cyber Monday from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. online only. bennyscarwash.com, bennyscarwash.com. All right, we'll knock out a quick break. We'll come back. We'll do our What to Watch with Muse, Paulie, and I. 3 things that each of us are watching this football weekend. Michael Anderson from Boot Up Customs will be in studio with us to start hour number 3. Did a really cool collab with Jaden Daniels for his cleats that he'll wear on Saturday morning against Texas A&M, so looking forward to that as well. We're glad you're hanging out with us here on this Football Friday edition of AFR. Stick around.
AFR.
Brought to you by Hudco Roofing, HudcoRoofing.com. Do business with someone you know, Hudco Roofing, HudcoRoofing.com. Last week we had, obviously, some rainy weather. I guess earlier this week. It feels like it's a new week, but just Friday. So many times when it rains, that's when our homes and businesses tell us that we got roof issues. Because when it rains, you realize you got a leak. You could always prevent that by letting HUDCO come out and do that free, no-obligation roofing inspection. But if it rains and you realize you do have roof damage, we'd love to help. Commercial or residential, the smallest repair to the largest roof replacement. I tell you all the time, if you got a flat or metal roof, business owners, listen up. You got a flat or metal roof. I think about all those buildings in the Industriplex here in Baton Rouge. All those flat roof buildings, metal roof buildings. If you're worried about the cost to replace them, call HUDCO. We have a silicone coating product. Comes with a 20-year warranty. It's roughly half the cost of a roof replacement. Do business with someone you know. HUDCO Roofing and HUDCORoofing.com. That's HUDCORoofing.com.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram has $20,000 off MSRP on new 23 Ram 1500 trucks. $20,000 off plus no payments for 90 days on new 23 Ram 1500 trucks. All with Bayou's 1 million mile warranty. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
Hey, boat owners, check it out. It is the holiday season, which means it's time to buy yourself a gift by taking your boat to the next level with our friends at Front to Back Boat Service. Now is the perfect time to upgrade your boat and get it ready for that warmer weather, whether that's trolling motors, HD sonar, anything and everything. The Sherman family's been at it for 30 years, and Devin's going to take you through 30 more. Find them on Facebook at Front to Back Boat Service or go to fronttobackboatservice.com.
Electricity is all around us, and our families depend on it. Every day is sparked by the power of a cold drink or a warm meal, a movie night, and a comforting light at the end of a dark hallway. From sunrise to sunset, playtime to bedtime, our team is ready to take care of your electrical needs. Even in the case of an after-hours emergency, the light in your life shines brighter with Mr. Electric.
Would a couple that just came from a couples massage have any use for the massage seats of the Infiniti QX60? Yes, it appears they would. With driver and passenger massage seats, mute all your notifications and feel
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Don Juan Cigar Bar.
All right, music at the Tigers and the Pros here in a bit. Halftime in New Orleans, Tulane's beating UTSA 23-10, and up there in Fayetteville, Mizzou blanking Arkansas right now, 20-0 as the final seconds of the first half tick off. KJ Jefferson injured in that ball game, so Arkansas really struggling to get going offensively. All right, usually Thursday, Muse, Paulie, and I tell you three things we're keeping an eye on for the football weekend. Let's do that now.
Here's what we're watching this football weekend.
All right, I'm going to start with Clemson and South Carolina. We kind of touched on this a little bit earlier, Matt, when we were doing around the SEC there, but South Carolina and Clemson, they both won 3 straight games. Gamecocks looking for bowl eligibility. Clemson with a little revenge potentially on the mind here after losing that game to South Carolina last year. I think it's an interesting angle in it as well. But Clemson obviously has won their 3 straight against better competition. But Shane Beamer, man, he has overachieved in every single year so far. Can he do it once more and get to bowl eligibility? That's really what I'm curious to see.
That would be a big save this season if he gets a bowl eligibility.
Would be.
Were they 2-6?
They were 2-6, yeah. And their win total, for what it's worth, preseason was 5.5. Yeah. So this could cash that as well.
Yeah. Paulie.
I'll be watching Florida State versus Florida for the Jordan Travis injury impact. Florida State's still fighting for a spot in the college football playoff. Florida is fighting for bowl eligibility. Backup quarterback Tate Rodemaker filled in for Travis after the injury, threw for 217 yards, 2 touchdowns. This will be his second career start, his first since 2020, and his first on the road.
Apple Cup tomorrow at 3 o'clock. This game's in Seattle, so we know Washington State's great on the Palouse. Washington State was great to start the season. They were miserable in the middle of the season, but they feel like they've kind of gotten it going a little bit. With a win, Washington State could get to bowl eligibility. The line on this one's 15.5. It's a big number. I get it. I like Washington State in the points in this game, mostly because we've seen Washington. Feels like Washington peaked in that Oregon game, and since then they just haven't been the same team. But they're undefeated, 11-0, and if they stub their toe in this game, this rivalry game in the Apple Cup against Washington State, their playoff odds are gone. It's hard to imagine a reality where even if they win next week, they get back in to the top 4, barring a lot of upsets around college football. I like Washington. They're at home. They're a big favorite. Rivalry games are always weird, and Washington State's playing better. It's just one of those where you got a sneaky suspicion that late in that ball game, you're going to be just sweating out a one-score game. If the type of game where if Washington stumbles, you make the mistake, you turn the ball over late in the game, you allow a team to give themselves an opportunity to win it. Just sneaky suspicion that one's going to be really close up there in Seattle.
We'll go to the NFL. Steelers, Bengals. Which offense can get something going? Obviously, it's the first game for the Steelers without Matt Canada after they canned him as offensive coordinator. And, of course, Joey B out for the season with the wrist. For what it's worth, the total in the game, 35.5. Steelers a 2.5-point favorite on the road. Whichever team can score points, probably going to win it. I'm interested to see it. And is there a bump there to, obviously, just Pittsburgh's defense because their offense, because they're right there in the playoff hunt.
I've been watching Jaguars-Texans. This is a battle for first place in the AFC South. The Texans beat the Jags by 20 in Week 3, so they're looking to sweep the season series. The Texans have won 10 of the last 11 and 21 of the last 26 games between these two teams. So the Texans' young offense is looking to continue their improvements.
A Civil War is tonight, Oregon State. It's in Eugene. Oregon's a big favorite. It's kind of the story, same with the Apple Cup. Rivalry game, but a large point spread with the favorite at home. I like Oregon in the game. Well, I think the Apple Cup is actually going to be a really close game. I don't think this is going to be a close game. If it were in if it were in Corvallis, I might feel differently. But in Eugene, everything on the line for Oregon. I am cheering very hard tonight for Oregon State, and I hope they throttle Bo Nix and that Oregon offense, certainly for Jaden Daniels' Heisman hopes. For all of us, that's why we're going to be keenly interested in this game. From a national perspective, Oregon needs a big showing in this game, and then they got to go win the Pac-12 next week to get themselves into the college football playoff. There's a ton on the line over the next 24 hours for both Oregon and Washington.
There's not really anything on the line nationally in this game, North Carolina, NC State, but I find it intriguing because North Carolina, I don't want to say they've cratered, but
they have.
Okay, they've cratered. They have. I mean, they were undefeated, looking like they were going to be in the ACC championship, compete for a playoff. They've lost three games now, including one to Virginia, which was just hideous, and then they lost to Clemson last week. NC State, on the other hand, is on a nice winning streak and is a home underdog, man, and that's a hard place to go. 4 straight for NC State here. Home underdog. Can they get it done under the lights in Raleigh?
I'll take the points of the Pack.
I like it 2.5. Like that play.
Sunday Night Football, Ravens-Chargers. The Ravens currently hold the number 1 seed in the AFC, and they could put the AFC North way out of reach for the win on Sunday night. The Chargers looking to keep their slim playoff hopes alive. They currently sit at 4-6 and are last place in their division. Head coach Brandon Staley is one of the bigger names on the NFL hot seat this season. The Chargers offense hasn't been able to put it together at all this season. Can they save their season and their head coach for another week?
You know what the lowest scoring offense in the NFL is?
I don't.
The Jets.
That's the answer everyone would say. It's not the Jets.
Huh?
The Giants and the Patriots are the two lowest scoring offenses in the NFL. And they're going to play this weekend. Bill Belichick won't name a starter. And it's so weird. This game isn't interesting. They both stink. The Giants are 3-8. The Pats are 2-8. Whatever. Tommy DeVito is going to play. It's relevant because we're watching the end of the Belichick era. I cannot fathom a scenario that Belichick is back next year, and everyone who covers that, and I'm just looking at everyone who covers the team, covers the NFL at large, continues to suggest that this is it. And we are watching the unraveling of the greatest era, the greatest dynasty the NFL's ever seen, and this is going to feel like a low point with the two lowest scoring teams in the NFL playing, and Tommy DeVito's playing quarterback for the Giants, and Belichick won't name a starter. If for nothing else, just to watch the fiery car crash, Giants-Pats. Let's see how it goes. All right, that's what we're watching this weekend around football. If you want to bet on any of it, of course you can with the DraftKings Sportsbook. Tell you every day, download the DraftKings Sportsbook app. Use the promo code Baton Rouge. They always have great specials and great offers for new customers. If you're a new customer, download the DraftKings Sportsbook app. Use the promo code Baton Rouge, one word, Baton Rouge. Make a $5 NBA bet, money line, spread, total, prop, doesn't matter. Make a $5 NBA bet with the promo code Baton Rouge to give you $150 in bonus bets instantly at the DraftKings Sportsbook. So download the DraftKings Sportsbook app. You got more college games tonight, full college slate tomorrow, full NFL slate on Sunday. You got the NBA in-season tournament going on right now. You want to bet on any of it, you can do it with the DraftKings Sportsbook. It's so easy. Honestly, earlier today I'd bet on Iowa, Nebraska, and it hit. But while I was waiting for that game to end, there was another bet that I wanted to make, so I just very quickly went to Venmo. I mean, you go through the app, you tap Venmo, and just instantly, I use Venmo, you can use PayPal or whatever you want to deposit money or withdraw money. It's so easy. It's the DraftKings Sportsbook. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app and use the promo code Baton Rouge. 21 and older, physically present in Louisiana, select parishes only. Bonus bets expire 168 hours after issuance. Eligibility and deposit restrictions apply. Terms at sportsbook.draftkings.com/basketball terms. Licensing partner Golden Nugget Lake Charles. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. 1-800-426-2537. All right, the second half's underway there at Yulman in New Orleans. Tulane beating UTSA 23-10 right now. 13 minutes to play in the third quarter. We'll keep you up to date as that one goes, and they are at the half in Fayetteville with Missouri leading Arkansas, 20-0. KJ Jefferson knocked out of that game for the Hogs. All right, it's after further review. We'll wrap up hour number 2. Muse will have Tigers and the Pros. Michael Anderson, Boot Up Customs, will be in studio with us to start hour 3. Really cool collab he did with Jaden Daniels for his cleats to honor Craig Brooks for the game on Saturday morning. He'll be in studio with us. We'll get to our pick'em. No Terrio today. Obviously, holiday. He's out of town with family, which totally understand. But Terrio's got a lot of work to do in our pick'em. Paulie, I went and checked the numbers. My lead on Terrio grew this past weekend. So I don't think he has any choice but to just go opposite me in every game if he wants to have a chance to win it. So we'll see how the pick'em will go as well. We'll give you picks on Saints-Falcons, LSU, A&M in hour 3 as well. So glad you're hanging out on this Black Friday. It's AFR.
AFR.
Thanksgiving in the rearview mirror, all eyes ahead to Christmas, and our friends over at River City's 1 Hour Air are doing an awesome thing. They are adopting 3 families this Christmas. They're calling it Operation Christmas Spirit 2023, Adopt a Family. River City's 1 Hour Air is adopting 3 families in need this Christmas to help make their Christmas a little more merry and bright. If you know a family that could use a helping hand this Christmas season, here's what I would encourage you to do. You can go to the River City 1 Hour Air Facebook page or their Instagram, and you can get all the info you need about the Operation Christmas Spirit 2023 and how you can help get a family adopted this holiday season. You can email christmas@onehourbr.com. You spell it out, O-N-E, christmas@onehourbr.com. One more time, christmas@onehourbr.com. You can call and ask for information as well if you'd prefer. 752-0001, 752-0001. For River City's 1 Hour Air, where they're always on time or you don't pay a dime.
Relentless reporting, gets results.
I'm never going to stop until we get the answers you need.
Uncovering more as the powerful try to cover things up.
What happens in the dark will always come to light.
Founding new principles and practices for the state of Louisiana.
Chief Investigative Reporter Chris Nakamoto.
Chris Nakamoto and the Investigative Unit. Recipients of Columbia University's prestigious DuPont Award.
Bayou Ford is taking $10,000 off MSRP on all new 23 Ford F-150 Black Widow trucks, plus $2,750 discount APR and 5.9% for 72 months. All new Bayou Ford vehicles come with a 1 million mile warranty. The crew at Bayou Ford is going to do right by you.
Follow us on Twitter at 1045ESPN to cast your vote in the Citizens Bank and Trust Poll of the Day. Vote daily inside Off the Bench, live at lunch on Palmer. And after further review, Citizens Bank and Trust brings you the Poll of the Day via Twitter at 1045ESPN.
Dylan Cruz here to tell you about Six Rings Baseball and Softball Camp. If you live on the North Shore and play ball, go to Six Rings Camps with former LSU assistant coach Dan Canaveri. His knowledge is second to none, and your child will improve and have fun doing it. Camps were held at Coquille Park and Six Rings Academy in Covington with 4 sessions over the summer. Full day and morning only sessions are available from ages 7 to 13. Go to sixringsbaseball.com or call 985-206-9096. Learn the game to love the game.
The Windsor Senior Living Community in Mandeville, Louisiana is a beautiful, vibrant apartment community geared toward seniors. They are nestled right in the heart of Mandeville, where seniors live a more carefree lifestyle in spacious apartments with the peace of mind that comes from having a little extra help. Call the Windsor at 985-624-8040 to schedule a lunch and tour. Come see how the Windsor can be your passport to peace of mind.
Bayou Ford is taking $10,000 off MSRP on all new 23 Ford F-150 Black Widow trucks, plus $2,750 discount APR and 5.9% for 72 months. All new Bayou Ford vehicles come with a 1 million mile warranty. The crew at Bayou Ford is going to do right by you.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Don Juan Cigar Bar.
All right, wrapping up hour number 2, Muso. Tigers in the pros.
Tigers in the pros. They still bleed purple and gold. They're just really rich now. Presented by Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry. Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry, where Baton Rouge gets engaged.
All right, let's start with the game in progress in the National Football League. Dolphins all over the Jets, 27-13. But for the New York Jets, Jark Bernard Converse has seen some action today. Sparing, but does have a tackle so far in the game. If anything pops later, we can keep you up. One final check here of the Dolphins. Okay, yeah, no Duke Riley yet in this one. Action yesterday, the Cowboys put it on the Commanders. Damone Clark, second leading tackler for the boys. 9 tackles in it, and one of those coming for a loss. Jamal Adams did, in fact, play for the Seahawks yesterday. Played quite well, even though they didn't as a team. 6 tackles for Jamal, 2 of those coming for a loss. Of course, he was questionable kind of throughout the week with a knee, but did play, and again, played well.
Questionable with the knee.
Questionable with the knee.
He's got a knee.
Got a knee.
Had a knee?
Had a knee.
Had a knee.
Had a knee because he played.
Doesn't have the knee anymore.
All indications out of the game, the knee is fine.
He was able to play without the knee.
He was able to play without the knee and get 6 tackles.
Good.
NBA action to keep an eye on tonight. The Rockets will host the Nuggets. We'll see if Tari Eason gets any run. He's played in 6 of the Nuggets' 13 games. Of the Rockets' 13 games so far this season, averaging 6-6 so far, following up a great rookie campaign. And the Minnesota Timberwolves in the in-season tournament group play. They host Sacramento Kings tonight. Naz Reid has put together quite a nice season, 12-4 so far for Naz and his average off the bench.
Should have stayed.
Should have stayed.
Imagine what could have happened.
I mean, we could be looking at 15-10 maybe off the bench right now, or maybe even the starting role. That's Tigers in the Pros.
Presented by Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry, lmfj.com, lmfj.com for Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry. Thanksgiving in the rearview mirror. We are staring straight ahead at Christmas. And gentlemen, during the holidays, if you are thinking about popping the question, best place to go. Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry for more than 40 years. Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Lafayette, Shreveport, and online at lmfj.com, lmfj.com. Because they buy more diamonds, they can give you the best deal on the best quality diamonds you'll find anywhere, and everyone always gets the Lee Michaels experience. lmfj.com for Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry. A little bit of breaking news here on this Friday. Two stories that directly impact the LSU game against Texas A&M here on Saturday. Matt Zenitz from on 3 hours. He's back at 247. He's bounced around a little bit, that Matt Zenitz has, I tell you what. But anyway, just want to make sure I give proper attribution. Two things. Number one, Matt Zenitz reporting that Jalen Henderson is set to make the start for Texas A&M Saturday morning against LSU. It'll be the third straight start for Jalen Henderson, transferred in from Fresno State. He's accounted for 6 touchdowns the last 2 games, as they note. Henderson will start for Max Johnson, who has 3 cracked ribs and won't have the opportunity, obviously, to start against his former team in Baton Rouge. The other news, that we might have expected, the other news that is certainly consequential, Texas A&M star wide receiver Evan Stewart, according to Matt Zenitz, did not travel with the team for the game in Baton Rouge and will not play against LSU. That is massive. Evan Stewart is not only the best wide receiver on Texas A&M's team, he is one of the best and most talented wide receivers in the country. And for a Texas A&M offense that has really struggled this season at times, to come to Baton Rouge and not have their best weapon is significant. And you have a backup quarterback playing without their best wide receiver. For an LSU defense that, let's call it what it is, stinks. If you take the best receiver off the field and playing the third-string quarterback, that is a benefit to LSU in this game. No way around it. We'll get into more of that when we give you our final preview and prediction for LSU and Texas A&M coming up. All right, Sports Center, Hour 3, coming up next. AFR.
AFR.
Brought to you by Michelli Weighing and Measurement, Michelli.com, Michelli.com. Think about it. Maybe you're a turkey farmer, and you had to weigh all that turkey meat for Thanksgiving. What would you need? You need a giant industrial scale. Who sells those scales and services those scales? Michelli Weighing and Measurement. Of course, farming is just one of the industries that they service, but there's dozens of different industries that Michelli services. You can go to their website to learn more. It's Michelli.com. Michelli Weighing and Measurement, online at Michelli.com, Michelli.com. You want to see the industries and all of the services they provide? Easy. The website is just such a great tool. And remember, they service 11 different states. Actually, they service the whole country, but they got calibration labs across 11 different states, literally from sea to shining sea, from Florida to California up to Oregon and points in between. So no matter where your business is located, if you have equipment that needs to be weighed or measured, Michelli can help sell, service, and rent that equipment to you. It's Michelli Weighing and Measurement, Michelli.com, Michelli.com.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Electricity is all around us, and our families depend on it. Every day is sparked by the power of a cold drink or a warm meal, a movie night, and a comforting light at the end of a dark hallway. From sunrise to sunset, playtime to bedtime, our team is ready to take care of your electrical needs. Even in the case of an after-hours emergency, the light in your life shines brighter with Mr. Electric.
The world's leaders in obesity research, obesity medicine, and obesity science are right here.
We're doing something that no one's ever done or trying to answer a question that no one's ever asked before.
Pennington is a real jewel when it comes to research.
We are finding the solutions to the world's worst chronic disease, which is obesity. Louisiana needs Pennington Biomedical.
The interior of an Infiniti is thoughtfully designed to be all about you. And by you, we mean every version of you. Because there's luxury you can feel, and there's luxury that lets you feel. Infinitely you. Experience luxury like never before with Infiniti Premium Care, included with the 2023 QX80 at your local retailer.
Running Boards Marketing can help you get their attention. Imagine your brand's message on a giant LED billboard truck that can't be skipped and is nearly impossible to ignore. Running Boards Marketing is the leader in effective and affordable advertising on digital mobile billboards, which are 2 times more effective than traditional billboards. With a 97% recall rate, you'll leave a lasting impression with your customers.
Dylan Cruz here to tell you about Six Rings Baseball and Softball Camp. If you live on the North Shore and play ball, go to Six Rings Camps with former LSU assistant coach Dan Canaveri. His knowledge is second to none, and your child will improve and have fun doing it. Camps were held at Coquille Park and Six Rings Academy in Covington with 4 sessions over the summer. Full day and morning only sessions are available from ages 7 to 13. Go to sixringsbaseball.com or call 985-206-9096. Learn the game to love the game.
This is Sports.
I'm Kevin Winter. Any hopes to the Jets' backdoor cover just went out the window. Raheem Mostert with a touchdown run for the Miami Dolphins. 1:53 to go in the ball game. Dolphins are up 34-13 on the Jets at the Meadowlands in the very first ever Black Friday game. This despite the Jets' defense creating 3 more turnovers today, yet they're getting punked by 21 points. It was not until 9 to go in the ball game when the Jets went over the 100-yard mark offensively. Tim Boyle does have a touchdown pass, the first of his career. That is the 10th offensive touchdown this season for the Jets. One bad news for the Dolphins. Here in the fourth, they've lost Jalen Phillips for at least the remainder of this game and likely more. The team immediately calling Phillips' injury an Achilles injury. It was a non-contact injury. He had to be carted off the field. 1:53 to go. Dolphins with a 34-13 lead on the New York Jets. NBA play-in tournament, in-season tournament continuing on. We're now in the Western Conference. The Suns and the Grizzlies. Memphis is up 49-48 this afternoon in Orlando. The Magic take control of Group C. They beat the Celtics by 17.
ESPN Radio is presented by Progressive Insurance. Progressive makes bundling easy and affordable. Get a multi-policy discount by combining your motorcycle, RV, boat, ATV, and more. All your protection in one place. Bundle and save at Progressive.com.
Matt Moscona.
I'm very important.
After further review.
Say it one more time.
After further review with Matt Moscona.
And here we go.
Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge Studios.
That's right.
Hour 3, off we go. Welcome aboard. Glad you're with us. AFR presented by Don Juan Cigar Bar. I'm Matt.
This is Shaq O'Neal, and I hate Matt.
Paul O'Neal.
They're chanting Paul O'Neal's name.
Yusuf. And Mr. Toby Tumpley. All right, we're here. Glad you are as well. 5 o'clock quitting time. Glad you're driving home with us, although I'm assuming none of you are actually working today. So you're not quitting, but you're hanging out with us, and we appreciate it. It's a day where we talk about often. Black Friday, most people are out on the street. You're shopping. You're on the road. So we've always done shows here on Black Friday because y'all are here, and we're thrilled you are. Final weekend of the regular season here for LSU and the college football weekend. Next weekend, championship Saturday, and hopefully 2 weeks from tomorrow, we're all in New York watching Jaden Daniels up at the Heisman presentation. We've had this guy in studio with us before, and glad to welcome him back. It's Michael Anderson, who is the best way to say it. You're a shoe artist.
Yes, sir.
Okay. And you've seen Boot Up Customs before. And the last time Michael was here, thanks for coming in, by the way. It's great to see you again.
I appreciate you having me.
No, man, always. Always good to have a Calicut Bear in studio with me as well. You know what I mean? Just down the street from us tonight. You know, Bears got John Curtis tonight. Going to take on the Patriots. We'll do work. You know, be fun. Bragging rights on Monday. When you were here last, we were talking to you during baseball season, right? Because you were doing some custom cleats for Skeens and for Cruz. Remind us how all that came together.
Yeah, actually, I worked with Dylan the last 2 years. So did a couple projects with him, and then some of the other guys saw it. So Paul, Trey Morgan, Tommy White, so the boys.
Is that really how it all how it comes together? Just it's a word of mouth reputation type thing. Is that how your business grows mostly?
Yeah, and the first sneaker project I did was with Skylar Mays.
Oh yeah,
and Skylar kind of put me on, and then from there it has just been growing, and then social media.
It's and so is it safe to say sometimes too, like, yeah, you kind of have to get lucky? I mean, obviously your art has to be great, people have to love what you do, but I mean, I think about the collab you did with Paul Skeens, and there he is striking out like 15 people wearing your cleats, right? And then they're spotlighting him, right? I mean, there's a part of that too, right? When they're wearing your cleats, those guys have to perform.
For sure. And when I gave Trey Morgan his cleats, the first pitch of his first at bat, he homered. The second at bat, he homered again.
Oh, nice.
So it was 2 for 2 with 2 homers. That was awesome.
And as superstitious as baseball players are, probably keep coming back. And then there were these, right? These are the ones you did for Tommy White. Can you pull that up, Paulie? So it was Tommy Tank. So it's like give me some idea behind this.
Yeah, so I mean, they call him Tommy Tanks. That was a pretty obvious theme to go with. And these are actually, I love these. These are one of my favorite pairs. I couldn't make the whole cleat look like a tank, so we did kind of like a battle scene.
Yeah, it looks like a desert battle scene. You see like the mushroom cloud, tank, the airlines, the bombs dropping. It's really cool. So, so baseball season was obviously awesome. They go win the national championship. Fill us in how you sort of transition from baseball in this football season with some of the collabs that you're able to do.
Yeah, so speaking of, a little bit of luck going your way, Olivia Dunn hit me up on Instagram. And so a couple weeks ago, we did a couple pairs of custom Jordans. So, the more that I do projects like that, and I'm blessed, I get to work with a bunch of amazing people. But the more I do projects like that, the more the word gets out there, the more it legitimizes what I'm doing. So at this point, I can pretty much get in contact with any of the LSU guys that I want to.
Mm-hmm. Wait, so go back to the Livy Dunn, because I did see that on Instagram too. So I mean, I would imagine like you worked with Paul, they're dating. Is that how that kind of happened?
Well, she had actually asked me to do some stuff before I even worked with Paul.
Okay.
So that just happened really organically, and I think it was because she saw the shoes or the cleats that I did for Jaden Hill, and so she just reached out to me. And then it's a lot about timing, because I'll have it's just me right now, so I got to spend my time where I can. So I knew that was going to happen when it needed to, and it was really special.
So the ones that are here back screen, those are the ones you did for Livy. Yeah.
Yes.
So can you kind of describe what the idea was here with these?
So I wanted to do something that she could wear like to meet day that was somewhat LSU themed, but then also had my branding. And my one of my logos is my initials as a crown, and then the gym team uses the crown. I've adopted the moniker of Louisiana's king of custom sneakers.
I love it.
So it just kind of fit together.
Yeah, there's some pictures on social media as well of you and Livy for those that want to see it. Of doing it. So whenever you do customs for somebody, and for those that aren't familiar, like I think I've probably talked enough about my sort of growing obsession in sneakers, but customs are like you'll take don't let me speak for you, but you'll just take like a white shoe, a plain white shoe, sneaker or cleat, and you'll basically it becomes your art. You paint.
Yep.
A design on the sneaker.
Yeah, I paint on it, and I've actually recently been learning how to completely reconstruct a sneaker from scratch. So I cut out all the patterns for the Jordan 1 that I have, and then I sew them all together and then attach the sole. So I mean, we could cut up a Louis Vuitton bag and make a pair of Jordans out of it now.
That's pretty wild, man. Like why don't we talk about what you did with Jaden here in a second, but when did you start thinking this is something that you were going to want to do, like sneaker art?
Well, and I paint on canvas as well. I have a clothing line coming out. I'm doing a lot of different stuff. The sneakers and the cleats, really, I had seen some guys doing it, and I just love sports, man. So I was like, oh, this is how I get into the rooms that I've been trying to get into, So really, just whenever Wade Sims was killed, I had mutual friends with Skylar, and I just felt called to do it because it was a way that Skylar could honor his brother, his teammate, and then kind of like the Jaden project, which we'll get to. When I did the ones for Skylar, Wade's parents were in attendance and cut down the nets the night that Skylar wore those shoes. So I realized I can make a difference, So it's not just about the art. I'm doing something that I love to do, and then I can also make a difference in the community.
Michael Anderson's here in studio with us. Boot Up Customs. You got to follow him on social media. You'll see some of the work he's done, some of the athletes and influencers that he's worked with, which is crazy. You mentioned Jaden. So take me back. There's a video up. I retweeted it earlier if you're there. We'll share it on all the social media platforms as well. But take me into how this came together with you working on a collab with Jaden.
Yeah, I had been talking to Greg this summer about doing a pair of cleats.
Greg Brooks.
Yes. And then we had planned, I was coming in town for the Arkansas game, and we were going to link up that week and kind of go over some ideas and get the cleats. And then, right before that, the news came out with his diagnosis with brain cancer.
Mm-hmm.
So obviously we couldn't do that. And then, just the obvious, way to show support for me was to reach out to Jaden. And it was just like, look, man, let's do a pair as a tribute to Greg.
And so what was that? So if you're watching, you'll see in the back screen here, it's a video. I guess you put this video together of designing the shoe, meeting with Jaden, sitting down with him. But what was the idea well, first of all, walk me through the idea of the design.
Okay. Yeah, and shout out to my guy, Josiah Christopherson. It's a 15-year-old kid that edited that video.
Oh,
and
wow.
He's from Baton Rouge. He's a monster.
That's
he's
awesome.
Really good. But the design, so Jaden actually has been very superstitious this year about what he's wearing. So he didn't want me to do anything too crazy. So I kept it very similar to the cleats he's been wearing all year, and then gave it the off-white, like Virgil Abloh treatment. And Virgil uses on the off-whites the quotes, right? And it usually says air or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
So we did the Fight Like 3. And then on the inside panel, it says boot up for JD5, Greg Brooks Jr., his hometown of Harvey, Louisiana, and then his birth year, 2001. And so I just wanted to keep it kind of simple. And I think the coolest detail, so I was almost completely done with the cleat, and I thought something was missing, right? And the whole idea behind Boot Up Customs, when I give the athletes these custom cleats or sneakers, is I want them to remember to be present and to be where their feet are. So the moniker I've adopted is 10 toes down and boot up.
Mm.
And so I added the 3 logo that's on the field and on the helmet on the toes, so that during the game when Jaden looks down at his toes, he remembers who and what he's playing for.
Yeah, that's really cool. I think you have this. Can you scroll a little bit if you have the other ones, the other photos? So was this? Yeah, there it is right there with the 3 logo on. For those that are watching, you'll see it there. If not, you can check it out on social media. But was there a fundraising component to this? Because I know people have wanted to help the Brooks family, and LSU set up the Greg Brooks Victory Fund. But was there a component to this?
Yeah, for sure. And that's in the video too. And, I have the link in my bio on Instagram. It's at get.like.mike. I have that Victory Fund link there. And yeah, I just, I wanted to do as much as I could to help. And I think, doing a special project like this, I mean, look, we had the eventual Heisman Trophy winner at Jacob Zumo's gallery doing this cleat project after a 12-hour day and sat down and did an interview with us. I mean, it was really special.
That is really cool. Did I see also, did you tell me you Jaden gave these cleats to Greg's family?
Yeah, so after the Florida game, he gave the cleats to the family, and he had asked them, actually, speaking of the fundraising, he had asked them if they would want us to auction off the cleats to raise money, or if they'd want to keep them, and they wanted them,
cool.
Which is really cool.
That is very neat. They're awesome, man. You go check it out on social media. Of course, Boot Up Customs. You follow Michael Anderson on Instagram as well. Cool collab, like we mentioned, with Livy Dunn. You can go see all those photos and everything there of the sneakers that she got, the customs and everything. Are you taking orders from people? Like, can people hire you to do customs?
So I'm really booked up right now, and my thing is that I don't ever want to do 500 pairs of cleats or shoes in a year, right? What I want to do is take, smaller, like more intimate projects so that I can build my brand awareness. And then I have, a clothing line and a bunch of shoes that I'm putting out for the public. The commissions are technically open if the price is right, because I am doing like a little bit of fundraising. But as far as just like, there are people that will do it cheaper than I will.
Yeah. Is this it's bootupcustoms.com? Obviously, go to you on your Instagram, but bootupcustoms.com is the website. So is there anything populated there where people could get more info, or is it just drop your email into contact?
Yeah, so it's just the email right now. It's under construction, but over the next, and I don't want to say an exact time because I don't want it to get delayed, knock on wood, but I have a pair of Jordans that I'm putting out for sale to the public, which is going to be really special, and then also a hoodie. And so just getting the ball rolling with that. And that's going to be awesome because, I've had so many people reach out that want some custom shoes, and I just don't have time.
Yeah.
But that's a way that if they want to support me, they can, and they're going to look fly doing it.
So it is. So you mentioned the clothing line. Is there anything available yet, or is that coming?
So that's in the next 4 or so weeks.
Okay.
And then I have probably the next 6 or so drops that I've already designed. I have all the samples back. But just getting basically a release calendar.
Yeah, got it, man. So make sure you follow Michael Anderson on Instagram. It says get.like.mike.
Yes, sir.
Get.like.mike on Instagram. It's probably the best way to get, and then bootupcustoms.com. Pretty cool, man. Congrats on all the success. It's great to see you. We're going to do the Pick'em segment when we come back. You good to hang?
Yes.
All right. So do you get to watch a lot of college football?
Yeah, I watch a decent amount.
All right, good. All right. So we're going to do our Pick'em when we come back. We'll see if we can get Terrio on the line as well, or we'll just get his picks. But suffice to say, after last week, my lead on Terrio grew. So he's got work to do if he's going to jump board with us. So, Michael will do the picks with us when we come back. We're glad you're hanging out. Stick around. It's AFR.
AFR.
Brought to you by Rouse's, the official supermarket of the New Orleans Saints. Get to Rouse's.com, Rouse's.com, or get by and see our friends over at Rouse's. Thanksgiving now in the rearview mirror, but tomorrow the Tigers play. Sunday, the Saints are on the road at Atlanta. If you want to have a tailgate, a home gate, a home watch, whatever it is, Rouse's has everything that you need for every single football Saturday or football Sunday. You want the shareables, you want your chips and dips, they got it. You want full-on catering trays, they got it. You want all your meats that you're going to throw on the green egg or the pit, whatever it is, they got it at Rouse's, the official supermarket of the New Orleans Saints. Hey, when you go do your grocery shopping over at Rouse's, remember to look for the Rouse's branded products. It's the red circle R logo. One of the things that is so impressive about Rouse's always is whenever they can, they source locally. All of the ingredients they can get from here, they do for their locally branded products. It's Rouse's, the official supermarket of the New Orleans Saints. Get to Rouse's.com, Rouse's.com. Rouse's, this feels like home.
Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram has $20,000 off MSRP on new 23 Ram 1500 trucks. $20,000 off plus no payments for 90 days on new 23 Ram 1500 trucks. All with Bayou's 1 million mile warranty. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
His name was King. He had a horse along the countryside. I saw him ride. One day they found him.
Hey, boat owners, check it out. It is the holiday season, which means it's time to buy yourself a gift by taking your boat to the next level with our friends at Front to Back Boat Service. Now is the perfect time to upgrade your boat and get it ready for that warmer weather, whether that's trolling motors, HD sonar, anything and everything. The Sherman family's been at it for 30 years, and Devin's going to take you through 30 more. Find them on Facebook at Front to Back Boat Service or go to fronttobackboatservice.com.
The importance of doing this fortified program and offering it to people down here is, number one, the only real chance you're going to get to do this is when you put on a new roof or build new. And through companies like HUDCO, who's kind of leading the way in this thing, it's going to offer the customers a huge advantage in the insurance market and the price of their insurance.
You know, we're not looking to make a fortune off fortifying. We're trying to give you a better product than our competitor at the moment. I'm trying to do something that he can. I'm trying to give you something better. So a lot of these insurance jobs, you're getting a re-roof, you're only paying your deductible. Let's sit down and talk about the fortified and let's see what it does to your insurance premium. You're getting a steal.
Yeah.
You're getting a brand new roof and a fortified certificate for your deductible, essentially. And I think we're rocking and rolling.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Electricity is all around us, and our families depend on it. Every day is sparked by the power of a cold drink or a warm meal, a movie night, and a comforting light at the end of a dark hallway. From sunrise to sunset, playtime to bedtime, our team is ready to take care of your electrical needs, even in the case of an after-hours emergency.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Don Juan Cigar Bar.
All right, it is a football Friday. The regular season wraps up tomorrow, which means our Pick'em contest wraps up tomorrow. And we do have Mr. The Riot on the phone. How are you, dude?
Hey, Matt. How are you? Happy Thanksgiving.
Belated happy Thanksgiving to you as well. Yeah. Say hi to Michael Anderson, who's in studio with us. Boot Up Customs.
Hey, Michael Anderson.
What's up, man?
We are going to do a little Pick'em here if you're good for it. Hey, how was Thanksgiving, by the way?
It was good. The whole holiday's made up lie, but the food is good. My sister-in-law debated me on the legitimacy of it. She had all kind of statistics and dates and proof, but I mean, it's, like I said, it's not true. It's all a lie.
I mean,
but the food was good.
Statistics and dates and proof sounds like objective evidence.
Well, yeah, maybe one would think that, but we still have the whole JFK thing covered up, Matt. So you can just make stuff up, right?
Oh my God. Okay. All right. But you know what you can't make up? The fact that
the moon landing. You can't make up the moon landing. That happened.
Well, the moon landing did happen. Do you not believe the moon landing happened?
Absolutely not. That was in Arizona. That was filmed in Arizona.
Oh my God. All right, we're going to talk about this, you and me, like legitimately one day, because I don't know if you're being serious about that or if you're one of those tinfoil hat guys who actually believes in conspiracy theories and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah, we have a segment on it.
All right, we'll do that next week. But what you can't make up is the fact that I'm kicking your ass in the Pick'em contest right now.
What's
How
the
about
score?
that?
What we got? What's the score?
All right, Muse, hit the music if you would. So this is year bajillion of me beating Terrio in the Pick'em, and every year he comes up with a new excuse as to why he loses. I don't give him the games. I make up this. I cheat, whatever. This year he's gotten the games. There's been no cheating, no bending rules or lines, no just saddling him with 10 losses because he no-shows. Even right now, I could have saddled you with 10 losses, but I sent you the games and I called you.
That was very nice. Thank you.
Paulie, let's look at the count. All right, last week, Scone went 6-4. Mr. The Riot went 4-6. Oh, no.
Took some flyers.
So overall, I'm 81-44, and you're 74-51. So you are 7 games behind me.
Okay. All right.
7.
That's okay. I got a chance. We picked 10, right?
You are 7 games back. Yes, pick 10.
Okay.
Who was our – did we have a celebrity picker last week? No, we didn't. Okay, that's right. Terrio has just gotten really lazy with the guest pickers this year, but we still managed to get a few in there.
Yeah,
Stanford Steve, Cecil Collins, Fred Smoot, Erica, Mincy, Russ Mitchell. Russ is still at 9-1. How about Russ? 9-1.
Yeah,
standing up there at the top. Good work. All right, Michael Anderson will have the honors here to try to unseat Russ Mitchell. You got to go perfect if you're going to unseat Russ. All right. The only way you can unseat him and take the top spot is if you go perfect 10-0. All right, 10 games, no point spreads, just winners. First one out the chute tonight, the Civil War, Oregon State. This game is in Eugene, Oregon, home of the Ducks. Michael, you can go ahead and do the honors. Who do you like?
I'm going Oregon State.
You're with the Beavs?
Yeah.
Okay. I am not. I am going with the University of Oregon. Give me the Ducks, not only to win, but to cover that one as well. I like Oregon big. Mr. The Riot.
Oregon State.
No kidding. All right, the big game tomorrow, Ohio State and Michigan. No Jim Harbaugh, that old cheater. He's been suspended, so he won't be there for the game tomorrow. Michael, who do you like?
I think Michigan wants to send a message. I'm going to take the Wolverines.
Going with Michigan. Okay. I also think Michigan at home gets it done for the third year in a row in this game. Mr. The Riot.
Ohio State.
No kidding. Okay. All right. Kentucky and Louisville. Louisville's trying to polish off an 11-1 season. They're heading to the ACC championship game next week either way. Michael, who you got?
I'll go Cardinals.
Going with Louisville at home. Louisville has been awesome at home. Kentucky's offense stinks. I agree. I'll take Louisville at home. Mr. The Riot.
Yeah, Louisville.
Oh, really?
Yep.
Well, you got to.
No, that's going to win. That game, Louisville's winning that game. I don't need to go perfect. I don't need to be perfect here.
I mean, yeah, you do.
No, you've already got 2 losses. I'm going to get 2 wins. That's 2.
All right, Iron Bowl, Bama at Auburn. Who you like?
Bama big time, unfortunately.
All right, going Bama big. I also am going to go with Bama. I don't think Hugh Freeze gets it done. Although this game is on the Plains, and Auburn did put a pretty big scare into Georgia at home earlier this year. A bit of a bounce back spot. You're embarrassed you lose to New Mexico State at home last week by 3 touchdowns. I think you got a good bounce back here from Auburn. Good effort from Auburn. I just don't think they're good enough to win the game. Mr. The Riot.
Yeah, give me Auburn in this one.
Going Auburn. I can't believe that you would. Your flyer is to go Auburn.
No, it's not a flyer. Crazy things happen in this game.
No, they don't.
Yeah, they do.
No, they don't.
Yeah, they ran the kickback for the touchdown.
Yeah, one time, and that was a great Auburn team that played for the national championship. That was one game.
That was a crazy thing, though.
Yeah, okay. That was a crazy thing.
Yep.
All right, Arizona against Arizona State. Michael, who you got?
I'll go Arizona. Arizona State's pretty bad this year.
All right, I'm going Zona as well. Jed Fish, I think, has done the best coaching job of the Pac-12 this year, getting that thing turned around. The Wildcats have been pretty impressive. All right, Mr. The Riot.
Arizona.
Going against Jordan Clark, huh?
Yep. Arizona's going to win. ASU stinks.
They do. They do kind of stink this year. All right, 5 down, 5 to go. Apple Cup, Washington State. Michael Anderson.
Man, I want Washington to lose, but I'm gonna take Washington.
All right, going UW. I'm going UW as well in that one, although I like Washington State in the points. You're getting 15.5, and I do think they keep it inside that number, but I do like Washington to win. Terrio.
Give me Washington State.
All right, going Wazoo. There we go. Your Flyers are just bizarre today. I don't really get it. All right, Florida State. Intrigue here because Florida State's going to play this without Jordan Travis after that awful leg injury a week ago. It's in Gainesville. Michael, who you got?
I'll respect Florida State because they beat LSU. I know they don't have the quarterback, but I'm going to go Seminoles.
All right, Florida State. Terrio?
Go Gators.
Going Gators. Okay. I forgot. I had to pick. I'm taking Florida State as well, by the way. The backup there at Florida State has been around for a minute. Rodemaker. Kind of a career program guy. Could have left, stayed. So it's not like you're throwing out somebody totally green. And Florida stinks. So night game at the Swamp. Tough place to go play and win. I understand that. But I think it'd be different if the injury happened during the game and you had that sudden change. But all week for a Rodemaker to get ready for this one, I think they'll be fine. I like the Seminoles. All right, 3 more to go. Clemson against South Carolina. Gamecocks need for bowl eligibility. Who you got?
Well, Dabo said buy the stock, so I'm going to go Clemson.
Going Clemson. All right. I actually agree with you. It's at Williams-Brice. Carolina needs it for bowl eligibility, but I do think that when old Tyler from Spartanburg called that the radio show and pissed off Dabo, he lit a fire under his team. And that's a good team that, I mean, you go back and look at the Duke game of the season opener where they had over 400 yards or whatever it was. I mean, they had 4 possessions inside the 10 where they came away with no points. They had some wild things happen to them this season. They should have beaten Florida State. The kicker, who was the kid who took the job in New York, missed a 20-whatever yard field goal that would have won it in regulation. Clemson's better than a 4-loss team, but you are what your record says. I think Clemson wins this game on the road. Terrio.
Give me South Carolina.
All right, 2 more to go. North Carolina against North Carolina State. This one's at NC State. Who you like, the Heels or the Wolfpack?
I like Michael Jordan, so I'm going to go with the Tar Heels.
Going Tar Heels. All right. I like NC State at home. They've been a good team at home. They've been hot of late. I'm picking the Wolfpack. Terrio.
North Carolina.
Going UNC. And last one, Tigers and Aggies, 11 a.m. from Death Valley.
I'm going to say Jaden Daniels with 6 touchdowns, and we blow him out and get revenge for last year, and we lock up the Heisman.
I love it, man. That and an Oregon loss would do it. Terrio.
Yeah, give me LSU.
All right, we're all going LSU. Clean sweep there. No surprise. All right, Terrio, we'll see you in studio next week, man. We appreciate you.
You're the man. Thank you.
Later, bud. We'll see you. Michael Anderson, Boot Up Customs. Make sure you follow him on Instagram at get.like.mike. Got it, right? All right. Get.like.mike on Instagram. Go check out the sneakers, the customs, the collab with Livy Dunn. The sneakers are the cleats that he did for Jaden Daniels for the Florida game. Tell you what, man, not bad to do customs where a guy sets a record that's literally never been done in the history of college football before. 350 passing, 200 rushing. Maybe break those out tomorrow. I might need them.
Yeah, and Matt, I want to say thank you for having me, man. I think the hardest thing for me to do with this whole thing is to get the eyes that my work deserves, and you've really been helping me do that, and I appreciate it a lot.
My pleasure, man. I love what you do. It's your work is great, and it's obvious, it's undeniable. When you see the people who are wearing your brand, it's worth it. It's awesome to see local dudes that are doing great stuff and put them on. So thank you, man. That's awesome. We appreciate you for being in here. Michael Anderson, make sure you follow him on Instagram, Boot Up Customs. Well, now I got a quick break. Come back, give you a Saints-Falcons preview and prediction, and we'll wrap up with an LSU and Texas A&M prediction before we get out of here. It is a Football Friday edition of AFR.
AFR.
It's 5:30 on a Friday. 5:30 on a Friday before a home LSU football game. You know where the LSU football team is right now? They're at the Renaissance Hotel right there on Bluebonnet. If the Renaissance Hotel is big enough to host the LSU football program, team, support staff, coaches, everything, team meals, meeting rooms, all of it, they can host your event. You need a ballroom that can host up to 500 people, Renaissance Hotel can host you. You need a boardroom for a corporate meeting, a dozen or so, they can help you. Smaller breakout rooms, they got you. It's the Renaissance Hotel. No hotel in Baton Rouge has more suites than the Renaissance Hotel. So as we're into the holidays, if mother-in-law is in town for the holidays, need a place to stay, the Renaissance Hotel right there on Bluebonnet. Proximity to all the shopping there across the street from Perkins Row. Proximity to I-10 to get wherever you want to go. And, of course, Tallulah, an amazing dining experience inside the Renaissance Hotel. It's the Renaissance Hotel on Bluebonnet.
Bayou Ford is taking $10,000 off MSRP on all new 23 Ford F-150 Black Widow trucks, plus $2,750 discount APR and 5.9% for 72 months. All new Bayou Ford vehicles come with a 1 million mile warranty. The crew at Bayou Ford is going to do right by you.
Would a couple that just came from a couples massage have any use for the massage seats of the Infiniti QX60? Yes, it appears they would. With driver and passenger massage seats, mute all your notifications and feel infinitely you.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
Running Boards Marketing can help you get their attention. Imagine your brand's message on a giant LED billboard truck that can't be skipped and is nearly impossible to ignore. Running Boards Marketing is the leader in effective and affordable advertising on digital mobile billboards. which are 2 times more effective than traditional billboards. With a 97% recall rate, you'll leave a lasting impression with your customers.
Dylan Cruz here to tell you about Six Rings Baseball and Softball Camp. If you live on the North Shore and play ball, go to Six Rings Camps with former LSU assistant coach Dan Canaveri. His knowledge is second to none, and your child will improve and have fun doing it. Camps were held at Coquille Park and Six Rings Academy in Covington with 4 sessions over the summer. Full day and morning only sessions are available from ages 7 to 13. Go to sixringsbaseball.com or call 985-206-9096. Learn the game to love the game.
The best.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Don Juan Cigar Bar.
It'll be a fun day tomorrow. 11 a.m. kickoff. That's not a lot of fun, but T-Bob and I will be over at Don Juan. Come watch the game with us. Certainly we'll be live for Whiskey and Wine as soon as the game ends. Last opportunity for Whiskey and Wine this year. So a lot of people I know have been wanting to come by and check it out. We'd love to see y'all there at Don Juan Cigar Bar. As soon as the game goes final, boom, we'll fire up Whiskey and Wine for LSU and Texas A&M. Thanks to Michael Anderson for being in studio with us. We appreciate Terrio for jumping aboard via phone. Mike Triplett was here last hour. Remember, if you miss anything, AFR On Demand presented by Breck Golf. Book your tee time at golf.breck.org, golf.breck.org. We'll get to an LSU-Texas A&M pick in the next segment to wrap up. Let me do my Saints-Falcons final preview and pick. So the Saints coming off the bye are headed to Atlanta to take on the Falcons. And this is one where if the Saints win it, I understand why the metrics show them taking a commanding divisional lead. Pro Football Focus, we shared this with you, has a graphic up that if the Saints win this game against Atlanta on Sunday, their odds of making the playoffs are 80%. If the Saints lose to the Falcons, it drops to 44%. But that makes sense. If you win this game, you have a 2-game lead in the division with the tiebreaker with 6 to play. When you're talking about teams so dramatically inconsistent, it's hard to imagine a team like Atlanta getting on a run and winning 4 or 5 in a row. Now, the Saints could certainly do their part and lose 2 or 3, but having both of those things happen simultaneously makes it very hard to believe. So I'm not saying the Saints would wrap up the division, but you would be just about there with a win to get you to 6-5 on Sunday if you're able to get it. But what's going to be really interesting here, obviously, is the Falcons' offense, with Desmond Ridder being reinserted as the starting quarterback. Here was Dennis Allen on Friday talking about that Atlanta O.
Well, look, I think they have, a lot of players from a skill position that, present a lot of different challenges. They line up in a lot of different areas. They got a lot of guys that can do a multitude of things. Their backs, Patterson and Robinson, both those guys will line up in the backfield. They'll line up out wide. They'll run typical kind of running back routes, and yet they'll run, wide receiver routes too. So I think that, along with their receivers, Pitts at tight end, I think all those guys present some challenges.
For a team that has as much skill, that has as many great skill position players as Atlanta does, they should be better than 24th in the NFL in scoring offense at 18.9 points per game. Atlanta should be better offensively. They're not, because they're missing everything but the engine. You have this beautiful sports car built that just doesn't have the engine to make it go. You don't have the quarterback. And I don't know that I believe Desmond Ridder is that guy. Now, Arthur Smith was asked if this opportunity to sit and watch, now being reinserted as the starter, has changed Desmond Ridder's perspective.
His perspective has been, again, I hate speaking for him, and you can ask Des, obviously you guys will, you'll talk to him. But that's, I think, looking at him again, I feel very, very good about where he's at. I think it's, again, he handled it well, which is not an easy situation to do and I think his best football is ahead of him.
Desmond Ridder made his first career start. The 2 games he started down the stretch last year, he was 2-2 down the stretch last year. The first one he started was a game against the Saints, and he was asked to sort of look back at that game playing New Orleans a year ago.
Last year was, first game, going down there. No clue what NFL ball is going to treat me. Now I got my toes in the water. Been around it a block or two. And so, like I said, now it's just exciting, ready to get back out there, obviously, to have the opportunity to be back out there, just going to take full advantage of it.
There's got to be a degree of desperation for Ridder, but also a degree of curiosity for Atlanta. They have to make a decision if Desmond Ridder is a guy that they feel like can develop into being their franchise quarterback, or if he's a guy that's going to be a clipboard holder throughout his NFL career. And this final stretch for Atlanta, this final 7-game stretch, has got to be the test case there. And it starts against a divisional rival that is your biggest rival, and you're going to play twice every year, whether Desmond Ridder's with you or not. So, yeah, it is a massive opportunity on Sunday for Desmond Ridder at home against the New Orleans Saints. And he's got to make that offense go. I just haven't seen enough from Atlanta to think that's going to happen. Now, the Saints defense at times has been really good this year. Sometimes it's been half to half that they've been really bad and then really good. And they've played a lot of bad quarterbacks this year as well. Where they've been susceptible is allowing quarterbacks to run. Now, I don't know that Desmond Ridder is that guy that's going to beat the New Orleans Saints with his feet. I think if you're the Saints, it's pretty obvious. You load up, you try to stop Bijan Robinson, you stop Cordero Patterson from running the football, and you make Desmond Ridder beat you with his arm. The Saints don't have Marshawn Lattimore, so you're a little thin in the secondary. It's just hard for me to imagine that offense, Desmond Ridder, just picking apart the Saints defense. Could it happen? Yes. The Saints are a very average football team. You are average. You are 5-5 through 10 games. You are a 500 football team. That's where they're going to end up. So that's why there's nothing that's a given with this New Orleans Saints team right now. But you do have Derek Carr coming out of the concussion protocol. There's no Mike Thomas, as we know. But this is a Falcons pass defense that's 8th in the NFL. The Saints pass defense is 7th in the NFL. Their passing yards allowed are literally separated by 1 yard. The Saints allow 199 a game. The Falcons allow 200 a game. So ask yourself this question. Which offense do you think is more likely to get going against the other team's pass defense? The Saints with Derek Carr and Chris Olave. No Michael Thomas, obviously, but you have Rashid Shaheed and you've got Juwan Johnson and Alvin Kamara. Like that offense, or Desmond Ridder pulling the trigger with, yes, Kyle Pitts, Drake London, Bijan Robinson. I like the Saints. And I also like them coming off the bye. I will put stock into how much success Sean Payton's teams had coming off the bye during his tenure, and Dennis Allen carrying that forward now. So I don't think it's a coincidence that New Orleans last year won 3 straight coming off the bye. Look, they had some things go their way, right? They got to play Philly on the road in Philly without Jalen Hurts. They were playing Gardner Minshew. You played a game up in Cleveland when it was 10 below. And it was like a 13-10 ball game, or 13-3, whatever it was. So you got some things that fell your way, and this may be another one of those where you get to go on the road and play Atlanta when they're reinserting Desmond Ridder into the lineup, and they just don't have the engine to make the car go. So the line started open with Atlanta as a 1-point favorite. It's gotten bet to New Orleans side where the Saints are now a 2-point favorite. And I do think it's a close game because divisional games generally are. And I also think a lot of the familiarity defensively leans and weights to the defense as well, with Ryan Nielsen and David Onyemata and Caden Ellis. When you know the personnel, both offensively and defensively, that's going to neutralize a bit. So divisional unders are always a popular play. The total in this game is 41.5. And I think you do see a game that ends up in the high teens, low 20s, where both offenses at times have scuffled this year. I think both defenses have been generally pretty good. And being that it is a divisional game, I think you're going to see a lower scoring game. But I do like the Saints to go on the road and get this done. I think the Saints beat the Falcons in Atlanta in a close ball game, move to 6-5, bury the Falcons down at 4-7, and that put the Saints with a pretty commanding lead in the division. I don't think the Saints are going to get hot. I don't think this is one of those things where they're going to go rattle off 5 of 6 or anything like that, or 5 of 7. But I do think they go to Atlanta and get this win on the road on Sunday. Give me the Saints to beat the Falcons on the road. All right, it's After Further Review. We're glad you're with us. We're brought to you by Shaw Bills Tire and Auto Service, ShawBillsTire.com. You know where to find them. Name brand tires at wholesale prices with 17 locations across South Louisiana. You can find the location nearest you. You can schedule service online at ShawBillsTire.com, ShawBillsTire.com. If you're in town, maybe you have a family member in town that drove in for Thanksgiving and they're having issues with their car, well, before they hit the road to go back home, wherever home is, pop in to see Shaw Bills. If it's tire rotations, if it's oil changes, if it's the check engine light, if it's squeaky brakes, Shaw Bills can handle all of it. And, of course, they'll sell you name brand tires at wholesale prices. ShawBillsTire.com, ShawBillsTire.com. Visit them online. Shaw Bills, where we keep you rolling. Okay, it is After Further Review, Football Friday edition of AFR. I'm glad you're spending part of your day with us. Tulane still with a 23-10 lead over UTSA, 7.5 to play in that ball game. Missouri is just blasting Arkansas out of the water. It's 41-0 right there. Right now, with just underway in the fourth quarter, as you mentioned, KJ Jefferson was injured. He's out of that ball game. So we got a really good one tonight as well. Oregon State. We get the Civil War starting in about 45 minutes. Looking forward to that one out in the Pac-12. If you're an LSU fan, you know you're cheering hard for the Beavers tonight to throttle Bo Nix. It's in Eugene. It's a tough assignment for Oregon State, but we'll all be watching with keen interest. Okay, let me knock out our final break of the show, y'all. We'll come back. I'll get you my final LSU and Texas A&M preview. Stick around. It's AFR.
AFR.
Well, we had our family tradition earlier today. Every single Black Friday, Erica, Drew, and I load up the sleigh and go over to Clegg's and pick out our Christmas tree. We did that earlier today. So, and I can tell you firsthand, they have an amazing selection. From the 4-foot trees all the way up to the 12-foot trees. So if you have high ceilings, you want a smaller tabletop type tree and anything in between, Clegg's has you covered, and they are gorgeous. I'm going to tell you, and Erica was worried. She researches this stuff all the time. Do you want the Fraser? Do you want the Noble? Whatever it is. And there was some concern because of like drought conditions throughout the country. As we all know, it was a really rough summer, what the tree supply would look like. I can tell you firsthand, being at Clegg's earlier today, the supply they got are gorgeous. So before everything's picked over, make sure you get by Clegg's Nursery, any of the 4 locations. And Sunday at the Greenwell Springs location is the Poinsettia Open House from 10 until 2. Get on by and check them out at Clegg's Nursery.
Life in Louisiana is like a run-on sentence. A poem that doesn't rhyme. Life is here, now. For life's moments, big and small, always there. The right card, the right care.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary, for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected. Supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team. And backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
It was a humid day. Barefoot children play, looking for that summer shade. Time to slips away. Oh, Louisiana, some kind of hold on me. Like cypress stumps, your roots are planted deep inside of me.
The interior of an Infiniti is thoughtfully designed to be all about you. And by you, we mean every version of you. Because there's luxury you can feel, and there's luxury that lets you feel. Infinitely you. Experience luxury like never before with Infiniti Premium Care, included with the 2023 QX80 at your local retailer.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Electricity is all around us, and our families depend on it. Every day is sparked by the power of a cold drink or a warm meal, a movie night, and a comforting light at the end of a dark hallway. From sunrise to sunset, playtime to bedtime, our team is ready to take care of your electrical needs, even in the case of an after-hours emergency.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Don Juan Cigar Bar.
Down the stretch we come, final segment here on a Football Friday edition of AFR, presented by Don Juan Cigar Bar. One thing left to do is give you my LSU-Texas A&M picks, so I'll delve into that. I don't think there's really a lot of ambiguity about LSU's game with Texas A&M on Saturday. Jimbo Fisher was fired. Elijah Robinson is not going to be the head coach at Texas A&M, but he's the interim coach trying to get his guys ready to go play. They were down early last week against Abilene Christian. Very bad look. And now they have to come on the road to Baton Rouge. They are changing things up a bit. Jimbo, during his time in College Station, they would always travel on Thursday, which is a really weird thing that they did, and especially considering they were so bad on the road to continue doing that and not change it up. This week, the Aggies traveled on Friday. We'll see if that makes a difference. My impression is that it won't or shouldn't. Jalen Henderson is going to play quarterback for Texas A&M on Saturday. So we won't see Max Johnson returning to Baton Rouge. It'll be Jalen Henderson, the Fresno State transfer. Interestingly enough, Bobby Petrino is coaching from the field now. He'd been coaching from the booth all season. Last week came down to the field level and will coach on the field again. I don't know if any of that is actually going to be material or matter very much. I think more so in games like this, what matters are the Jimmies and the Joes. Yes, X's and O's matter. Obviously, coaching does. It's one of the reasons that maybe the primary reason why Texas A&M gave Jimbo Fisher $76 million to go away. But A&M has some really good football players in certain spots. Not having Evan Stewart, though, in this ball game is going to be significant. The news Friday from Matt Zenitz was that the Aggies' best wide receiver did not make the trip, will not play in this game against LSU. And when you're talking about Jalen Henderson in this ball game, not having arguably his best receiving threat against an LSU team that is bad defensively, any threat that comes off of the field for an A&M offense, which hasn't been very good this year to begin with, averaging 34 points a game, which is 22nd in the country, but some of that skewed, obviously, when you put up 51 against Mississippi State or 52 against New Mexico. What we've seen with A&M is when they go on the road, they have struggled. They've lost 4 games this year, 3 of them away from home. They lost at Miami, they lost at Tennessee, they lost at Ole Miss. The Miami and Ole Miss games are the 2 highest point totals that they've given up all year. They gave up 48 to Miami, which did include a kickoff return for a touchdown, and they gave up 38 against Ole Miss. And in that Ole Miss game, Ole Miss put up 518 yards of offense. It is so hard for me to imagine this Texas A&M team, which seems to have taken its eye off the ball, focusing on this game against LSU and going all out to win it. A&M is bowl eligible. They could certainly put a damper on Jaden Daniels' Heisman candidacy with a great defensive performance. I just think that this is less about A&M and more about LSU's offense and Jaden Daniels. LSU's defense isn't good. And A&M, even without Evan Stewart, is going to put together drives, and they're going to score points because everyone does. Jalen Henderson hasn't played a lot of football in his career, but had a nice day last week against Abilene Christian after they got down early. They ended up winning 38-10. And yes, A&M's going to move the ball, and they're going to score against LSU because everybody moves the ball and scores against LSU. And they've got Aniyah Smith and some really good players. And some of those really good players will make plays. It's just that LSU has the best player in college football who is going to make more plays. I don't worry about the 11 a.m. kickoff. LSU played arguably its most complete game of the season at 11 a.m. at Mississippi State. They played Missouri at 11 a.m. in Como, and that's their best win of the season. And in both of those, the commonality is LSU's offense got going. And I think they will Saturday against Texas A&M as well. The key for the game, A&M's defensive front seven is really good. They're first in the country in tackles for loss with 8.5 per game. They're second in the country in sacks, 3.6 sacks per game. They got 40 sacks on the year. So really active, talented A&M defensive front. LSU's offensive line has got to be up to the challenge. But similar to 2019 when that LSU offensive line won the Joe Moore Award as the best offensive line in football, so much of their shortcomings were covered up by Joe Burrow's ability to create, to improvise, and to overcome those mistakes. And that's what we've seen Jaden Daniels do all year. LSU's offensive line has allowed the second fewest tackles for loss all season. And yes, that's because LSU's got a very talented veteran offensive line, but they also got a quarterback who erases a lot of mistakes that you may make because of his ability to escape and improvise. And I think LSU will do that again. A&M's going to move the ball and score. LSU's going to move the ball and score more. Give me LSU 41-31 to beat Texas A&M, to get to 9 wins, and Jaden Daniels to have another big day to do all he can do to push his Heisman candidacy forth. I like the Tigers to beat the Aggies Saturday morning in Tiger Stadium. All right, we're brought to you by the Williamson Eye Center. Speaking of taking your eye off the ball, you got the Williamson Eye Center. You never have to worry about that. WilliamsonEye.com, or you can call them at 924-2020, 924-2020 for the Williamson Eye Center. Maybe it's LASIK. Look, holidays are here. You're thinking about would you want to give a gift to yourself or a loved one? LASIK could be the answer. Evo ICL, which is the implantable contact lens. It's an alternative to LASIK, which is a reversible procedure. If you're interested in that, you can learn more. The Williamson Eye Center is just the best. They've been serving our community 3 generations now, more than 70 years. It's the Williamson Eye Center. Go to WilliamsonEye.com. That's WilliamsonEye.com. Or give them a buzz at 924-2020. It's 924-2020 for the Williamson Eye Center. Okay, y'all. Just say it again, a belated happy Thanksgiving. If if you're off, if you've got family in town, hope you're taking that time to enjoy this time with family when you have some downtime. The holidays are great. We all grind and blow and go really hard during football season, and it's nice to be able to take a little step back and relax a little bit. So hopefully Tigers get a big win on Saturday. Saints do us right and get one done on Sunday. We're back here on Monday celebrating a really successful weekend. Also, when we're back here on Monday, we will be recapping Muso's big date at the Aqua concert. You nervous? You nervous, Muse?
Not yet.
Oh! When do you go knock on the door? Can't wait. We're going to have a video crew following him the whole night. He doesn't know it yet, but it's happening. We'll see you Monday at 3.
AFR.
All right, y'all, as we get on down the road, let me remind you about Pure Restoration. Mold Zero is now Pure Restoration. Listen, Louisiana, in particular South Louisiana, is the mold capital of the world. When you talk about our climate and how wet it is, with the combination of the wet and the humidity, we're a breeding ground for mold. If you have mold, think you might have mold, you need Pure Restoration. Pure-restoration.com. For years, I told you about Mold Zero. Patented non-toxic dry fog treatment, same thing. Same patented non-toxic dry fog treatment, same great people, same great service. Just an expanded menu of services, which include demolition and build back if you need it. And also, they have a great sanitization product as well. There are a lot of schools that use the sanitization product. It's once a year, and it's got a full year warranty on it. Learn more at pure-restoration.com, pure-restoration.com. More cost-effective, more efficient. It's Pure Restoration.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Electricity is all around us, and our families depend on it. Every day is sparked by the power of a cold drink or a warm meal, a movie night, and a comforting light at the end of a dark hallway. From sunrise to sunset, playtime to bedtime, our team is ready to take care of your electrical needs. Even in the case of an after-hours emergency, the light in your life shines brighter with Mr. Electric.
Would a couple that just came from a couples massage have any use for the massage seats of the Infiniti QX60? Yes, it appears they would. With driver and passenger massage seats, mute all your notifications and feel infinitely you.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
The best kept secret in town is out. Discover Tallulah at the Renaissance Hotel on Bluebonnet.